Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. Y'all know what it is. You're live here with your boy Trey, man, Bishop, with First Formation Morning Sports Talk. So come on and fall in. Bishop, what's good with you this morning, bruh?
WGO, what's going on, y'all? How y'all living this morning, man? It is what he said, first formation. Let's get it, man. How y'all feeling this morning, man? Hopefully everybody's doing great. It is Tuesday. We made it past Monday, thank God. And yeah, man, let's talk sports, man. We got a lot of stuff going on. The NBA, the NFL, a lot. We had that USFL. I was able to
You,
catch a
you
little bit
checked
of
it out?
that trade. Yeah, I did. I checked a little bit of that. Pittsburgh versus Miami, I think it was.
Florida,
Pittsburgh,
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. That's what Tampa Bay. I know it was a Florida team, Tampa Bay. That's it.
So, matter of
Yes,
fact,
I
so
caught a little bit of that too.
let's start right there. Let's start right there. Let's
What
get
up,
into
Freddie? What up, Freddie? What's good? What's
what's
good?
good. What's good. So let's get into this USFL United States Football League of old the reboot. Uh,
hmm
you got a chance to see the project a little bit, Bishop. What did you think about it? I know it was one game. It wasn't probably the one of the most enthralling games, but what did you think of it?
It wasn't bad, man. I can say that I got to see I see they put drones on the field and stuff like that. So I got to see the game. It was pretty decent, man. It wasn't bad at all. I see wasn't no crowd participation whatsoever. The stands were empty. I mean, literally empty. Um, So I don't know what that's about. I don't know if they're trying to, if that's because of COVID protocol or whatnot, so forth and so on. Which was hard to believe because I just found out yesterday that they have started to waive the mask mandate for TSA. So, in TSA, so you don't have to wear.
Oh, really?
They advise you. Yeah, it just came out yesterday. Yeah, they advise you to continue to wear a mask, but you won't be like no one will approach you if you don't have a mask on in the airports or on the plane.
Okay.
So yeah, I did see that yesterday too. So it was a bit surprising. Yeah, Freddie, you're right. It was a bit surprising not to see any fans in the stand during that game, but the game seems to be pretty
I,
good. I don't know.
so
They
I
may have
think
an opportunity, man. What do you think?
I think the reason for the first I go off of what you had first addressed was I think the reason for not having many fans in the stadium is due to the fact of all the games are played in Birmingham. So of course you got like the
Oh,
so you know what I'm saying, so that's the first and foremost, like you
so if
got
it's not your team or nobody
yeah,
you
yeah.
like,
Unless you
you're
just
not
have
going
a
to watch it
love, unless you just have a love for the game,
for
or
the
unless you're
sport.
just
Yeah.
a not, you know, saying not a love with the sport, or you're just having, or you just like, you know, saying this is something to do. Everyone's there
hmm
for the most part, unless you're the Birmingham Stallions. I think that's what they're called. Then everyone else, the other seven teams, are just teams that are in your area playing. At the end of the day.
But
Uh,
I'm assuming the tickets are pretty cheap. Huh?
Oh yeah,
They're not
yeah. The particular,
expensive, are
and
they?
it was some like I follow. Well, of course, we additionally I put it there where we additionally follow XFL, and in the XFL 3.0, oh my goodness, they be
Mm-hmm.
going off. So XFL feels like if they made 3 million viewers off of cheap tickets, one stadium, 8 teams. They finna blow it out the water come next year. So that's what the XFL is on right now. It is interesting. So I think and it was like someone's like, yeah, 84 fans before last night game. Additionally, last night game was a Monday night. You know, what I'm saying? So it could have been one of those situations where everyone's like, okay, well, we are seeing the first game. It's like you only get one chance to make a first impression, and they wasn't able to. And they missed out. They missed the game because of the inclement weather in the area, and so they rescheduled them to tonight. So that was one thing. Now, as far as my when I look at it, I caught some of it, and then of course I turned back and caught the rest of
Mm-hmm.
the end of the game last night. And what was interesting to know
Mm-hmm.
is they only had three receivers, period, on their roster or that were eligible.
Oh wow,
So those
wow.
three receivers, yeah, for that was for the Maulers. So
Uh-huh.
basically, when you look at it, that's all you got, three receivers. So you definitely have to be a game planner for the most part to sit up and be able to get those receivers open if they're not getting open. They talked about how they weren't, saying the speediest of receivers, and how how they all had different accolades and attributes in which they had, in which
Mm-hmm.
basically that's what it was. So you look at over the course of a game,
Mm-hmm.
if you're not built for that, then it starts to become a problem because you only have three receivers, and so
Mm-hmm.
at some point in the game, the Tampa Bay started their defense to where they was loading the box because they and letting the
Mm-hmm.
safeties play back and letting the corners play up, and that started to
Mm-hmm.
basically become effective. And so yeah, they only had three receivers for whatever reason on their roster that were playing that was suited up. Of course, you have tight
Oh
ends and
wow.
running backs, but a lot of times you see if you was paying attention, the running back stayed in for protection. You know, so, I mean, and then you
Mm-hmm.
got to think that the game was what 17-3. So
Was that the final?
yeah, 17-3.
Okay. Okay.
17-3
I
as
didn't, like I said, I didn't watch the whole
yeah,
game.
17-3
Just
as
watched it.
the Tampa Bay Bandits got their first win over the Pittsburgh Maulers for to
Mm-hmm.
end the USFL's inaugural week as opposed to weekend. What's good, Anthony? What's good,
Mm-hmm.
brother? How you doing?
What up,
So
AP? What up? What up? What up?
so that ended up being the end state of that game. So yeah, like I said, spring ball to accommodate um, what we're missing and what we tend to be missing when it comes to
I think it'll
um,
be a good filler. I
yeah,
think it'll be a good
college and
filler
then
if we can get some good. Yeah, yeah. Until college kicks off, if we can get some good games, some good competitive games, with some good highlights. You know, some nice hits. You know, some great plays. It could be a good filler until college and NFL returns. I think it could work. I think it could
now
work.
what seemingly is going to be the only downer for it, or maybe not, is it's going to have to split time next year this time with the XFL, which is going to be his direct
See and
competitor.
see and see, and that's the problem. I don't think they both can coexist. In my opinion, you think they can? You think they both can coexist at the same time?
No, I don't. So you know
That's
what?
what we on, AP. That's what we on right now.
Maybe
Well,
we
not the NFL, not the NFL, but we on the USFL, but we on football.
maybe it can, but I think what's going to definitely happen is one one brand might end up having to be pushed to as a lower tier, and it might not be by choice. It's going to probably be by force in a sense, to
Okay.
where it becomes a tier where that tier system becomes okay. The USFL is what you know what I'm saying, what we think it is, but the
hmm
XFL comes in, and now you have the XFL that is
What's the
partnered with the
difference in the two?
NFL.
Do you know right off the bat, Trey, between the
So right,
XFL and the USFL?
no, they're both semi-pro or a
Right.
correction. They're both a lower tier.
Right.
Uh,
Like the D
yeah,
League. They're like the D League
yeah,
of the
they're going to
NFL
be like yeah.
basketball.
So that's
Yeah.
what it's going to basically be, and so with
But
that,
I'm talking about like in part. I'm talking about Trey up in regards to like scoring or
oh no,
players on the field.
no,
You know, no
it's still
different.
yeah, it's no different. They still have it's certain like the XFL, USFL correction has certain rules and stuff like
What up,
that.
Rich AP?
The USFL still has certain rules as we talked about before with the overtimes and the
Mm-hmm.
3 point conversions, and if
Mm-hmm.
you instead of an onside kick, you can elect to take the ball 22 yards out and all that type of stuff. So they have
Mm-hmm.
different things in that sense where they got, and then of course they're trying different things with the chip in the ball to instead of chains, they're utilizing the
The
technology.
computer, yeah,
Yeah. So
computerized
I mean,
technology.
you had those different things, but besides that, I don't foresee it's not different. They haven't completely or eliminated or altered the rules in which we know it from football um, as of right now. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
think it's any different. It's just a matter of the XFL was purchased, and they're going to start their season next season, which their direct competition is going to be the USFL, who will have a year ahead of them to do. But if someone, I mean, like you talk about Apple and all that type of stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's something to say about an organization that looks at a product, takes that product, look at that blueprint, apply it to themselves, and make it their own, and to be as a betterment. And that's presumably what the XFL is going to have in front of them. But of course, already they've done stuff like partner with the NFL. So you know, what I'm saying
Cool. The
that's
XFL or the
yes,
USFL has partnered.
the XFL has partnered with the
Okay.
NFL.
Okay.
So that's going to be a betterment for them and potentially a detriment to the USFL. But it's not to say that the players in the USFL can't not still be picked up and seen. Saying it's still, saying they're still professional ball players. Some of them have been in the NFL one way or another. Shea Patterson, quarterback from Michigan Wolverines 2 years ago. He's currently the quarterback for the Michigan Panthers, I think it is. So it's some,
So
it's
my,
some.
so
Go
my
ahead.
thing though for you, Trey, is, and my question for anybody that's watching in regards to who are huge NFL fans or huge football fans, I'm sorry, not NFL, just for the love of the sport. My question to you, Trey, is I don't see how they can coexist. For one, what I
Mhm.
don't think what we want as fans is an oversaturated. Um, we don't want anything oversaturated
Don't want to
league for
oversaturate the
football.
market. No,
The
like
market of
basically
football. Yeah,
oversaturate spring ball. Like it's like we got too
thank
much
you.
going on. Okay, I see what you're saying.
That part, because we already got the colleges starting spring games. Georgia just had their spring game the other day. Arkansas had theirs. Tennessee, I think they had theirs. A couple of teams have already started had their spring game. There's other teams about to start their spring game. So you don't want to oversaturate it with football, trying to put it in the fillers with the USFL, the XFL. Then we got the Arena League that's still currently going on. There's just so much. And then if so this is me, right? My personal opinion, I feel like, um, one of them needs to either they need to combine, which I don't understand why they wouldn't do that. That's why I asked. Excuse me. That's why I asked initially, what's the difference between the two leagues? I don't know why they don't combine and create one big league to be a filler and just run with that instead of having two separate different leagues running at the same time. Now you're competing for airtime, you're competing for fans, all of that. You just pretty much shooting yourself in the foot, in my opinion. Um,
So
I
eh,
personally say combine those two leagues, and then maybe, why not? Good morning, Keith. Why not bring on the women's football league? Have them come on board, bring them on. You know what I'm saying? Now you have a women's football, you have a women's basketball. You know what I'm saying? Why not do that instead of having two of the same things, pretty much outside of maybe a few things differently in between the two? Why not have both of them? What? Why not have them two combined and then bring on a women's league? Once XFL comes, USFL won't last. Why do you say that, Anthony? That's why I was getting at with Trey.
so and
Why
and,
do you
and,
feel
and
that
so
way?
I was about to touch on that. So
Mm-hmm.
from a business point aspect of the point, when I look at it is a couple of things. You had some very key points, and so when you listen and you talk about it, we're looking at one, competition breeds things. So there has to
Right.
be a competition. Just like on the
Mm-hmm.
football field, what I'm saying, we talk about all the time about someone coming in to push another individual that's kind of lackluster due to the fact that they're not they don't have any there's no one to push them. There's nothing there. So it's like y'all ain't got no choice but to rock with me, you know what I'm saying? So you kind of dictate the market in a sense. So I think that's
Okay.
the first thing what's going to happen. So when the XFL comes onto the scene, of course, there's going to be the USFL is already going to have their loyals, so to speak, because they're going through the season. It's their first season. They're going to be able to kind of like build upon. We'll see what they shortfalls at. Then the XFL is going to come about. Of course, the XFL has all this firepower behind them with the Rock and all these people in which they brought in
Okay.
and being an ownership group. And
Mm-hmm.
they're already, like I said, they already did what they did in partnering with the NFL. The
Now, Trey, don't
aspiration of
forget. Now, Trey, don't forget. I don't know. I'm not to interrupt, but don't forget
yeah.
that we've also got, what is it called? Fan base. Not
Oh
what
yeah,
is
yeah.
it?
Okay, I got you.
Yeah,
Fan
that's
focused
another
football.
one. Yeah,
I got you. I
yeah,
got you. I got
yeah,
you. I believe I'm coming to that. I haven't.
yeah.
I
Let's
got that.
go.
I'm
Yeah,
definitely coming to that. So it's so like you said, it's going. You got the and you got those where you got these people are coming on. The SFL is going to have their loyals. XFL's, USFL is going to have their loyals. In fact, XFL is going to start to build theirs. Being with the newer organization, they're partnered with the NFL. Every player that handles that Pigskin's ideal, you would presume, is to get to the highest level, which is the NFL.
mm,
This organization over here is connected to the NFL to in a sense, or the NFL has taken them in. Not to say they're sponsoring, but there's some endorsement from the NFL as the XFL is looked at as okay. This is what we're going to do. So those things are, I think, all culturally become a factor to
Hmm.
where they basically,
Absolutely key.
you know what I'm
Yep.
saying? They basically it basically comes plays a factor. And then now, like you just said, like you and Keith was talking about, you have the FCF or the fan focused football, in which
Fan
our
control
own, you know,
football.
fan control football, yeah,
Yeah.
where our own Terrell Owens, you know what I'm saying, plays. He just caught a
And I think
touchdown.
Baker, not Baker Mayfield. What's the
Manziel,
other dude name?
Johnny Manziel
The,
plays as well,
Johnny Manziel. That's him. Yeah,
in which
Johnny
him and
Manziel.
T.O. play on the same team. And
Right.
T.O. just caught a touchdown from him, you know, and the other night. So you have
Mm-hmm.
that, you know, saying that brings these things. Now, what's unfortunate is, and what's key in this is, we talk about this, we talk about all the fanfare, we talk about who's where and what is, but ultimately, in my opinion, what comes down to it is the business plan and the execution of your business plan. It doesn't make
Mm-hmm.
a difference who and what you got. You can have some of the greatest, you know, saying people and names, but if you know, saying if the business plan isn't right, then it's not going to bring in. It's only some that will only go so far. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what's going to be key for the USFL and XFL on how they're going to coexist or how what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You're like you said, bringing in a bringing merging, you know what I'm saying, may help, and it may be able to have a conversation about that depending on how far the USF goes, how far the XFL goes. If you start to see who's eating what or what's going on, maybe there becomes a conversation about merging the two leagues, and then a conversation about how they get together and what can happen. I think that's going to be a conversation later on down the line, as both of them currently USFL is in their first inaugural year as the reboot. The XFL is going to be in their first inaugural year next year for the second time as a reboot 3.0, as they call it, XFL 3.0. And now you have a situation to where it's going to be some time. Unfortunately, the AAF folded in a year. I mean, correction, folded, yeah, in about a year. The XFL didn't even get back off the ground really before they folded. So the second time around. So maybe this third time around, or maybe that's what the answer is. Like, no, let's not split hairs. Let's get this pool together and sip and make something happen if possible. And we'll see it like that. Or, you know what I'm saying, what we do know is college and NFL rule the genre in when it comes to football.
Okay. Okay. Well, and like I said, it's just so many leagues, man. And so which one of those leagues is a picking pool for the NFL? Is it the one that's attached to the NFL? That's kind of like the NFL is endorsing.
I think, you know what, you would think that, but ultimately, in my opinion, the NFL bears all the benefit from this because
Right.
they have more than, like, yes, they're attached to the XFL, quote unquote, due to the fact that they have the alumni program
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that they partnered to build together. That's one
Mm-hmm.
thing, but still, it doesn't. They don't. It's not like the teams can't go, and we say NFL, but we're really talking about the organizations and the teams. It's not like the teams can't go take a look at the FCF, the USFL, the CFL, the XFL, and be like, "Oh, this player's over here. I like to call them up and see and give them my opportunity because they see they're playing with certain players." So that's it doesn't really make a difference in that case for so the teams from the NFL are able to do that. It doesn't make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you brought up the interesting fact in reference to the WFA, and you know
Mm-hmm.
saying, and building even one building their own platform, maybe even partnering with or seeing if there's a market.
Mm-hmm.
The market may not be as robust for them. Like the WFA has been around for a while, and you know
Years.
saying
Yes.
tomorrow, yeah, and tomorrow, of course, you know saying a little spoiler alert, we have a little
Special
treat
yes.
as we have another guest from the W representing the WFA. We'll talk about that a little later, but for tomorrow. But it's one of those things in which it's definitely a case of where it may not, it's no different from the WNBA, and like they're the market, they have to build it, they have to see, and I don't know how robust it is. It's sort of like with us being service members and cooks
Mm-hmm.
and what correction culinary specialists
Thank
and
you, thank
being,
you, sir. I
yes,
appreciate you. I
yes,
appreciate you correcting that, sir. Thank
yes. So
you.
us being culinary specialists, that
Yeah.
one thing I always used to sit up and tell the soldiers when they used to come to my facility and be like, "Hey, why we ain't got this? you don't even come around for my regular. You ain't here for the veal
That
parmesan.
part.
You're not here for,
The
whenever we do
yakisoba.
your yakisoba. You're not
Yeah.
here for all the other stuff. You know what I'm saying? We give you a Thursday, like we, ribs,
Uh,
chicken,
yep. Yep. Soul
catfish.
Food Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah, Soul Food Thursday. Like you get that, but yet
Yeah.
you won't every so often you won't surf and turf. I can't do
Right.
that if you're not eating my regular meal. You trying to put me in the hole, and not to
That
mention
part.
Thanksgiving. Like we already know you're
Ooh,
gonna go broke. Saying Thanksgiving, and that's
that
at
and
the
Army's
beginning of this
birthday.
year
That
and the
and
army's
Army's
birthday.
birthday.
True that.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying. So I can't like you're asking for this, but I can't give you this right now. And so I think that goes the same thing as for some of the markets as far as the uh the women's football association, or let's talk about it, the ABA, or saying all these other markets in which are trying to produce something where they for the most part want to be lucrative or want to have a footprint, but it's hard to
Mhm.
do if saying to sit up and go to somebody and be like, hey, this is what I want. I'm a team in this area. Like me, like for instance, I used to have a minor league basketball team in the
Right.
Lake Charles area, and
Hmm.
so the closest market to me would have been the New Orleans Pelicans, or maybe you could even say the Houston
Okay.
Rockets
Okay. Yeah.
at
Right.
the time. So
Okay.
it's hard if I'm not producing numbers in my own market, i.e., Lake Charles, Calcasieu Parish, Vernon Parish, Beauregard Parish. If we're not producing numbers in those areas, it's hard to go outside of that or to the next tier or what's the closest tier to me to be like, hey, let's partner up and get and so we could do something. What's my value to this organization? Because they're going
Hmm.
to have a value because they're creme de la creme at this point. What is
Hmm.
my value to this organization for the most part? And I think that's the
Hmm.
thing that we have to look at and take in consideration. And so if the value isn't there, we start to look at like, you're like, okay, I'll pass for now, but saying it's a good idea. We'll take into consideration, and then you go back to the drawing board. So I think that's some of the stuff in which you look at the WFA, or it could be they're fine in their own zone. I don't want to be a part of this. This is where we're at. We're good. We've been here for a while. We're thriving. So, like I was talking about the other day, if it ain't broke, don't fix. Let's not fix
Right.
it, or
Right.
let's not mess up a good game.
Right.
So
So let me answer this question. So Richard Applewhite, first off, let me answer Rich AP. Let me say this. USF is in a good place, being in the spring and also putting out a good product. Fans will support good football, and USFL season is short and not too long. Agree with you, AP, Rich AP. I totally agree with you. What time AP said, Rich AP? What time of the year is XFL going to play their games? You want to
same
answer that,
time,
Trey?
same time as what the USFL is playing now.
Right, which is basically this time frame, but it's starting up next year,
Next year,
2023,
yes, next year.
2023. So that's that question. So and then Anthony Price says, so is the USFL for random players to play football and the XFL for ex players who can make the NFL, if that makes sense? So I'm glad you answered that or asked that question, Anthony, because I was thinking the same thing and I was about to ask Trey. So we know in a way, um, just like what is it? The big three in basketball. We know those are all
Hmm.
former um, basketball stars, or even if they weren't true stars or whatever, they were ex-basketball players who've gotten up in age, but they can still play. But they're no longer on NBA teams. I don't know if that's what the XFL plans
Yeah,
were.
that's
Um,
not what they're looking for.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
and it's
So,
yeah, but I totally understand where you're coming from, Anthony, because that's what it kind of seems like in a way, because it does seem like the XFL has a bunch of ex NFL players. Um, and we know one Super Bowl champion quarterback was in the XFL, right? Kurt Warner was in the XFL, right?
no, he was part of the Arena
Arena
League.
League.
Yeah,
Arena League. That's right. He was Arena League. I'm sorry. He was Arena League. So we do know
and that's
that
another
in
one.
it, what?
The Arena League.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's so many, Trey. That's what I was getting at. We're talking about five different leagues outside of the NFL, bro. That's the saturation is ridiculous right
It's a immense amount of leagues that are out there that
now.
are
Right.
even thriving in their own right. You know, what I'm saying utilizing their blueprint and they're productive in their own right. Or, but and it, like you sit up and talk about like what Anthony was sitting up and basically like
Right, Keith.
what's the variable and what you have. I think it is if you look at the divisional aspect of football in the college. You have Division 1, you have Division 2, you have
Right.
Division 3, you have a Division A, a
Mm-hmm.
Division 1A, 1B. You have the NAIA, you have the NJCCA, CAA, like all these different divisions. And at the end of the day, they're all players. These are all men that can play the game of football. It's just they didn't wasn't they can have an interesting enough aspect to where someone was looking to pick them up in what is considered to be the top divisions. But they can play football,
And it's like
HBCUs,
Richard
like
Applewhite
all
said
that
right
type of
here.
stuff.
Right here. So basically, what Richard AP is saying right here, they are some good random players that get overlooked and they get to play the game they love. They get to showcase their skills for the NFL as a farmer. That's a good point. But how many leagues? Like, how much is too much though, Rich Apple? How much is too much? Was it Warren Moon in the XFL Arena League?
Not the XFL. Warren Moon came from the original USFL,
USFL, the very first
the
time the
first one.
USFL
Yes,
came, because the USFL and the XFL, this isn't their first run at
yeah.
this. They've been back. This is like numerous times they've been back and forth,
And keep in mind the
and that's
USFL
why.
was the original NFL in a sense, like the
That's right.
NFL. Yeah,
Initially, before they became the NFL, absolutely, that's right. That's why I raised. That's why I asked the question to you, Trey. Do you think they will survive again? Because they keep coming and going, coming and going, and coming and going. So there's a reason in
I
which they
think
will.
I think ultimately what's going to hurt the USFL, particularly potentially just in hindsight, in which I
Mhm,
could be wrong, but I think the biggest thing that would be the detriment to the USFL is the simple fact that the SFL is coming. And they're going to, you know what I'm saying? Now we are competing in the same type of market. Well, not the same market because they all don't have the same teams, but what is happening is now we have a competitor. And this
mhm,
competitor is now on the scene. Now we have to compete against them, which may not have been in their initial plans, or maybe it was.
mhm,
Maybe that's the reason they jumped out. It's like we just up boom one day we look and say the USFL is coming. You know what I'm saying? Then
mhm,
a couple of months after that, it's like boom, the XFL is coming. Even though it was
mhm,
always grumblings, and we already know the team with XFL was purchased, we just ain't know what was
mhm.
going about. So I think that's what's going to ultimately be the downer for one, if one or the other, is that there's two of them in the same market. We're competing at the same time. This is where we're at. A bunch of spring football,
So do
fan control football is, and even fan control football is going on as we speak as well. So you have
right
three in
now,
that
right,
market. Yeah.
right. So let me ask you this. So how many teams are in the XFL that's coming next season? Do you know?
I think 8.
So out of those eight, and then the USFL has seven, correct?
Yes, correct. The eight, and both are going to be 8 and 8 with 8 and 8
So with both the USFL and the XFL, both leagues, do both leagues have teams in the same area? In other words, like
in the
do
same markets.
both yes, both leagues have a Pittsburgh team? Do both leagues have a Tampa Bay team? Do both leagues have a, you know what I'm saying, a Chicago team? You know what I'm saying? You
Yes.
know, because
So
that
the
because for me
definitely,
that would be a
I'm
problem. I
actually
think.
looking at it right now.
Okay, so and my thing
So
is that
I
that would
believe
be a
that.
problem. I
Go
like
ahead.
that too, Key. I like that too, Freddie.
Yeah, I'm
What Key
listening.
said right here, that I think the XFL and UFL should be USFL should be like the minor leagues for the NFL. That's why I asked that question, Key, initially. Were they a pick pool for the NFL? That's why I hope that was my whole reasoning, because now if you're looking at it, now the NFL not only has an opportunity to pick from college players, but they're also having an opportunity to pick from XFL, USFL, fan control football, arena league. Like there's so many pools out there that they can pick from.
Well, I think in my opinion that would go without saying. Regardless, like that's like an unsung, one of those things in which
Doesn't have
is
to be
what is
spoke of.
yeah what is spoken of does not need what is doesn't need to be explained. And
Right.
so I think ultimately that's what is going to be anyway. Is that it's going to be these teams are going to be looked at are going to be
Right.
poached or is going to have their teams taken away from them or not taken away from them. They're going to have their teams are going to be looked at and they're going to be in different markets definitely. So you have the currently You have the Dallas Renegades, the DC Defenders, the New York Guardians, Seattle Dragons, St. Louis Bayhawks, Tampa Bay Vipers, Los Angeles Wildcats, Houston Roughnecks. So, of course, definitely what's going on is uh, I know this. I don't think the Los Angeles Wildcats are no longer valid. Now that's the Las Vegas team.
Okay.
I think there's still a Tampa Vipers. So with that being said, of course there's a market. They have a market. Both of the teams have a market. I don't know if Seattle's still around. I don't know. I don't think the Houston Roughneck is a squad anymore. I think that team is now in San Antonio. Um,
Mhm.
so it's possible that maybe two or three of the teams are going to still be is going to have a market, the same market as as the USFFL.
Okay. So, Anthony, with your question, right? That was one of the things in which Trey spoke about at the beginning of the show in regards to how you feel about the USFL having everybody under one roof. Um, I don't. In my personal opinion, I'm trying to figure out what is the purpose of that. Are they trying to save money? Or are they like? I don't even understand that point, or why you have everybody traveling to one location to play all these games. I don't know if Trey has the insight or the inside information on maybe why they chose to do that. But for me, that's a bit strange, and I just don't see. With that alone, I feel like that's a disadvantage for the USFL because how can you have everybody playing under one stadium throughout the whole entire season? Like I don't see that being profitable. Like I
So
said, with the game I watched yesterday,
what they
no one was in the stands.
it could be a part of their business model because what
Mm-hmm.
it is, it gives you if currently I believe playing under one stadium in one stadium allows for uh, a whole weekend of football. Team plays
Mm-hmm.
Friday night, two teams play Saturday and Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
Two teams play Saturday on afternoon, or morning, evening, or afternoon, evening, and then one team plays on Sunday, and then they just
Mm-hmm.
keep rotating through that schedule. So I mean, so it could be. It's I believe it's it hurts
Really,
for
Anthony, one stadium, one hotel.
it hurts
Yeah.
it hurts the product for the most part, as
Mm-hmm.
far as it comes
Agreed.
down to people saluting, because like at this point I feel like I have ties between Louisiana and Texas, so that'd be Houston and New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
Do I'm saying I can't, if I wanted to go see any of those teams play, or if I want to follow it that much and go experience a XFL, I mean a USFL game for one of those teams, I have to travel to Birmingham
Mm-hmm.
to take a look at this. So yes, it's
Mm-hmm.
inexpensive when I get there, but the trip in general, like traveling. So I'm sure they have something in place. I had to look deep dive a little more to take a look and see what it is exactly. But um, currently, this is where they're at. So it's interesting.
It is
One arena, one weekend.
for all the games. What you got, Rich AP? Under one roof saves money, short season, the camera setup, and the chip control is like basketball, dead in the bubble, and experimental technology for the NFL to implement in the future. Good point, Rich AP. I like it. That is something that they probably are looking at as NFL owners and NFL, the league itself, are probably paying close attention to things like that. Because there are, that I will say, like myself and like Trey and I were talking at the beginning of the show, they got drones on the field for the USFL. They got the GoPros on their helmets and stuff like that. So yeah, that's something the NFL hasn't done. Yes, we do know the NFL I think implemented last year or the year before, uh, where they had a what was it? They had a special camera that was on the field
Oh, they
that
started with
showed.
the camera following and stuff like that.
Yeah, they did
What
a
the NFL
special that
uses
let
now.
they.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, which is cool because it looks more like you could almost reach out and touch the player when if you have a high def TV on one of them 8Ks, 6Ks, or whichever TVs you can see. So I definitely totally agree with you, Rich AP, because I think it's something. in which they're trying to do in other words, they also know their budget. Yes, that's exactly what it is. The budget. I said that initially, Anthony. I think it's the fact that they have that game at one location so they can save on money. Drone cams, yes, the drone cams is huge. I think the drone cams is something big until something happens in which the drone interferes with the game, and then that's going that's when all shit gonna break loose because of the fact that drone may have interrupted the play. Not everybody got an 80 inch like you. Us, nobody got no 80 inch, bro. Stop it. I'm just saying. But yeah, let's just see, man. I can't wait to see how this is gonna pan out next year. USFL right now they good because the XFL isn't playing. So right now they're good. And like I said initially when Trey even mentioned about the game yesterday and the games this weekend, I didn't catch any this weekend. I did catch yesterday's game. Yeah. Um, it definitely could be a great filler. I will say that. I haven't had an opportunity, and I don't know if Trey has. I haven't had an opportunity to check out an FCF. I have not. A fan control football game. I have not. The uh, I did see the highlights, like you said,
Hmm.
of Terrell Owens catching a touchdown. I did see that, but I haven't actually physically watched the FCF game. I don't know what y'all think about that, the fan control football. I know when they first started it, I got an email about being a part of the FCF and being able to participate. How can anybody in this on here that's watching elaborate
Don't you have a
on what they
team?
think about the FCF?
Aren't you
I
on
initially
the?
had one. I don't know if I still have it because it's a lot of stuff with that, man. I initially, like I said, I did, sign up to participate, but I never got in. Never got. It was hard for me to figure it out, to be honest with you, initially, and I still haven't figured it out to this day. So that's why I'm asking: Does anyone have, the ins and outs with the fan control football? Because we do know the fans supposedly aren't able to control the game, pick the plays, whatever plays they are, so forth and so on. But I haven't actually had an opportunity to actually watch the game. I don't think those games are televised, as far as I know. They may be. I don't know. And that's probably why I may not have been able to catch one yet. I do know I told Trey about it a couple of months ago that they did have a huge tryout for the FCF. They had that on. You can watch that on Twitch. Matter of fact, you can watch Fan Control Football on Twitch because they have an actual page on Twitch to where you can check out Fan Control Football. That's where I saw the somewhat you would call combine where they had tryouts for people who wanted to try and make the Fan Control Football team, um, stuff like that. But yeah, it's a lot out there on the market. Somebody's gonna falter. Just don't know who again.
So of course, speaking as we while we're talking about ownerships and things of that nature in reference to football, with if you didn't catch it yesterday, former NFL running back from the Seattle Seahawks, Las Vegas Raiders, Marshawn Lynch is now
Lynch,
has a ownership stake or investment stake in the Seattle Kraken. Of course, then one of the newest NHL
hockey team.
teams that's out there, um, in which they're doing they're doing they brought him in, him as well as artists Macklemore have came into it, in which yesterday, if you caught on anything, checking on the social media streams or ESPN, him whipping the Zamboni around as like he was doing with the medical
like
cart
he was
while he was
like
at
he
Cal.
was back in Cal. Yeah, the
Yeah,
medical card. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So of course,
that's crazy.
the ownership is saying something else. Of course, if you got the money to quote unquote money to blow like that, then uh I guess you know what I'm saying that's one way to go about doing things. So of course, shout out Beast Mode on saying his continued endeavors. Uh, we'll see more from it. Additionally, also Bishop, were you did you hear about who is now relenting to say if a team was willing to take them as a backup, they'll be more than willing to be on? When I say that, who comes to mind?
Oh, I don't know. Is it Baker?
Uh-uh.
No.
Nope, not
If
Baker.
they will, somebody is if a team is willing to take him on as a backup, he's willing to go.
Yes, he's
Kaepernick.
willing. That is correct, bruh. Colin Kaepernick was stated yesterday that if a team is willing to take him as a backup,
I
he's
mean, does
willing
he
to
have a choice, Trey? Like seriously, right now, does he really have a choice? Like I know deep down in his and deep down, he did not think he was gonna come to a team and be a starter. I know he didn't think that.
some people do.
That's hard to believe that you did. Cap, if you thought that, you so wrong for thinking that, bro. You so wrong for thinking that. Yeah, if you was to get picked by any team, you was definitely going to be a backup, without question. And this is my thing. Thank you, Anthony. I was just about to say, and get, I don't know why he doesn't go to one of these leagues and try and play for them. That's the best way to show your resume, in my personal opinion. All these leagues that we just spoke about, the FCF, the XFL, the USFL, the Arena League, all these leagues, and you're still trying to get in the NFL, play for one of these other leagues and let people see you. Yeah, these workouts is cool, but you ain't playing against nobody. Nobody's rushing you. Nobody putting pressure on you. You're not having to make reads. Go to one of these leagues, Colin, and play. Let these owners, let these coaches see you playing under the uniform, under the lights, seeing you make reads. I totally agree with you, man. I totally agree with you 100%, bro. 100%. Why not?
What's good, Shannon? What's
What
good?
up,
So
Brad? What
yeah,
up? What up?
it,
What up?
it, it makes sense. That's a valid point that you have, and what Anthony is talking about, like you go show, and sometimes I think it becomes a pride thing. Sometimes you're looking at, oh, maybe it might be a little bit of a money thing, so you want to get as much bang as your buck and get more of an offer that you possible. Um, at the end of the day, if he's a backup for an NFL team, he has more. If there's a situation that happens with the, let's quote unquote, quarterback that's in front of him, there's more of a opportunity for him to get in because he's already in the vein, as opposed to being a part of a USL or XFL team, being shown seen is like, okay, he has some prowess, he's doing better, he might give a shot, waiting basically a year to get signed. And I don't know. Maybe these teams have a clause to where if the NFL is going, or if someone is playing in a team, like, you know what, I want to go ahead and have them. Do they have a clause to where their contract can be broken, to where they can move up the court, go ahead and release them from the contract so they can go play with said team. Yeah, I'm very sure it's all in their contracts. If I was an agent, that's what I would be asking for, to make sure that there's
Mm-hmm.
a way for my client to exit the contract. If a team, like, if not willing to, if the organization from the NFL is in spring camp and, they have a quarterback or whatever position goes down, and they want to bring my client in for the depth chart, then I need to make sure, like, hey, we have something for him to get out the contract without any penalty and go ahead and
Mm-hmm.
play. So
Yeah, Steve, I totally get you. I feel what you're saying. He's making his money with his foundation. He's making money with Nike, but he would make more money if he had an NFL contract. Just being honest. If he can live up to the expectations, if he can live up to what he's being doing, what he's showing on these workouts. Again, but
it's
these workouts again are workouts with no one rushing you, no one putting pressure on you, not in pads, not making reads, so forth and so on. So Um, it is what it is. Kevin just wants to find a way back in the league after being black ball. He wants to make amends and he still wants to be a part of it. He's trying to rebuild his reputation. The true facts. True facts,
possibly
that's what.
now.
I
What's
don't know
funny,
if he
this
can rebuild it. I don't know if he can rebuild it though, to be honest, in my opinion. I don't know. Being that he's been blackballed, when you get blackballed, it's hard to remove that blackball. It's
it's
very,
it's funny.
very difficult.
It's funny you say something about money, and, saying, and things of that nature, um, for your services, as the Cleveland Cavaliers have made Denzel Ward the top paid cornerback in the NFL by giving him a 5 year, 100.5
You mean
million
Cleveland
dollar
Browns?
extension. Yeah, who I said, Cleveland who?
Cavaliers. I was like, what?
Oh
Are
my
we gonna
god, I'm
draft?
so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
was like, oh yeah.
Here
Go
this
ahead.
guy go with that. With the Cleveland,
Oh man, stop.
the Cleveland Browns have made Denzel Ward the highest paid cornerback by offering him 100.5 million 5 year
Ooh,
extension,
for a
70
corner?
for a corner. That was, bruh, 20 million. He
Jesus.
make that's wide receiver money, bruh.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. For a corner?
The market is changing. Of course,
Bruh,
you're
that
saying they
market is
offered
beyond changing.
what 72 million, about roughly $72 million guaranteed of that.
Well,
The Browns just he said
we
the
know,
Browns
Trey.
feel the salary cap is
Honey
low.
Badger is about to do. We know what the Honey Badgers is about to do. You know what
But you
the
know
Honey
what?
Badger.
I don't think he is. I don't think he's gonna get nothing close to
Why
that.
wouldn't he? Why
I
wouldn't he?
I don't know, man. I don't think he's gonna get anything close to that.
Like just like we just talked about Debo, AJ,
And matter of fact, I was just
AJ.
about to bring that up. Like
Yeah,
exactly,
like
like
come on,
these
go ahead, go
these
with it,
like
go with it.
dude, like this is. It seems like one market is pushing the other to reset the market, to
Exactly.
finish reset the market. Now,
Hmm.
if I'm a top receiver, and this is a little bit different because this is an extension on Denzel Ward because he's in his last year. I guess the money's here. But now, when you talk about, as y'all know, if y'all haven't paid attention, the top three, let's say young talents in the NFL are currently holding out because they want more money. And what we're talking about wide receivers
I
because
see
we
you,
know
Brad.
so when you look at Debo Samuels, um,
AJ
AJ
Brown.
Brown, as well as Terry McLaurin, top
Hmm.
talents in their class are holding out right now because they feel like they're not going to play on their current contract and they want to be paid. So they're not doing anything in reference to OTAs or anything like that because they feel like they want to get paid. I've been on record. I'm on here all the time, and I always say, play out your contract. It's a blessing that you have been able to amount the success that would should garner you an opportunity to get your money, but ultimately play out your contract. Let talks continue while you're playing out your contract. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen because obviously this is what happens when the team feel that okay, we can do this. In some cases, like the only person, in my opinion, Bishop, the only person that is definitely showing
I'm
improvement.
glad you said that, Anthony Price. We about to talk about that in a second. Go ahead, Trey.
All
Trey.
all the all the all these people what you're talking about right now. We can even throw Kyler Murray in there. Um,
Right.
when we look at it, out of those four talents, right,
Mhm.
three of them were doing the same thing. One of them was doing different. In this case, the only one that was doing something different was AJ Brown. For the most part, he has been productive his whole current career. He did have a season where he was injured. He came back. It was even more potent than he was previously. Now, in the case when you look at Kyler Murray, not so much. He didn't. It wasn't always just all ball out to continue the whole time. Debo, same thing. Terry McLaurin, he has flashes. We seen him. He's like, okay, he can play, but bro, you haven't been on the field. So when you take a look at some of this type of stuff, the only thing I look at is saying, of course, we know, dude, especially for those who have had injuries, you want to secure your future, but at the same time, it's a business, and so that's why I have been the person to be on here and say, just continue. And it's easy to say it from here for the most part because I might have a different mindset if I was the one who was trying to get my money, but at the end of the day, play out your contract. Let your
Right.
play do your talking. Let the team come to you and be like, hey, we're gonna go ahead and extend you with this, that, the third while you're playing out your contract. Now you're like trying to force a person to give you money when you contracted to them. Like that sounds backwards to me. But go ahead, Bishop.
Okay, hold on. So for me, right, this is the question in which I'm glad Anthony brought up, right, because I want to ask this question, because it seems like it's trending and it's
Oh,
trending big time.
deleting.
Is deleting your current team from your social media pages the new way to say you don't want to be there anymore? Because as we've seen, all three of those wide receivers in which Trey just talked about, all three of them have deleted their current teams from their social media pages.
I think
Debo did it.
it's
All
definitely
AJ
trending.
Brown did it. They all have done it. Is
It's
that the new
definitely
way,
trending.
Trey? Do
It's
what?
definitely trending. You know what I'm saying? But like, okay, you deleted me, so that's the way of getting the media's attention. I'm thinking because I'm wondering like who Bishop who at the ESPN, at Fox Sports, at NBC, at FS1, at all
Mhm.
these other sports networks. I don't know, E2G,
Mhm.
ASAP. Who is sitting around following these players to see when they take someone's name off, take a team off their
The
social media?
consumers. The consumers. So yeah, so to answer your question, Trey, it's the consumers. So being that the consumers are doing that, what's happening is Trey, put up the paper.
Yeah, I'm looking.
so,
I'm looking. I'm looking. I'm
so
looking.
the consumers are watching this, and so what the consumers are doing once they see that these players are deleting this, because that's one of the first things you see when you see these things on Twitter, whether you see it on Instagram, Facebook, or whatever. When the consumers see these or the fans see this, then they start tweeting. And then we know there's like just like for yourself, Trey, in regards to being savvy in Sorrow 5, you are a media person. Each team has a media director who's looking at things like that. And and they're reporting back to, whoever they report to in regards to, yo, such and such just deleted everything
I could assure
from,
you, I'm not sitting around looking at other M glows to see to see. You know what I'm saying? Now I do look and see what's trending in the M glow community. I'll be like, okay, I can
right,
see
of
how that
course.
may work, that type of stuff. But I can show you that I'm not going to probably notice if. Well, you know what? I digress. I can understand that. I can get it. I can get it because I
Yeah.
may notice. I may notice after you pay attention to some things. I may notice like, this individual isn't repping their colors anymore, isn't doing this, isn't doing
Right,
that.
right, right,
Yeah.
right, right.
So
Especially
yeah,
if it's a person who you normally see on a regular that's
yeah,
always
yeah,
rep, always
yeah.
repping,
I
always
can get it.
showing
I can
love
get
for
it.
their
Yeah.
team. But
Mm-hmm.
this is one thing I will say. Now, even though Debo, he's one of the ones that deleted his efforts, they said Debo has stated over numerous times on the air, in press conferences that he loves playing for Kyle Shanahan, loves
Mm-hmm.
playing for him. So he doesn't want Debo does not want to leave the 49ers. However, Debo wants that bag. He does want that bag, and he would like to get the bag from the 49ers. Good morning, LaDonna. How you doing? Good morning. Good morning. He wants that bag, and he wants the bag from San Francisco. And he loves playing for Cal. But as we've stated, now we've seen a cornerback get the bag. It's setting the market. Like Trey said, the market has been set. All these wide receivers getting paid all this money. The agents may have a hand in these moves to help bring in attention to the players and get fans reacting to help get the players their money. Facts. Facts. I totally agree with you, with JP. I don't appreciate the death threats he's getting. Who's getting death threats? Is
Debo.
is uh, is he for real? I didn't know that.
That's what he said.
Oh, I didn't know that part. Yeah, now that's over the line, LaDonna, in my personal opinion. That's over the line. You don't do that. That's over the line, and you're not a true fan. You're not a true fan. If you're doing that and sending death threats because a person is about the way he feels about his money, everybody else getting their money, why should he feel like he should get his money? I don't feel like that's warranted. Who would you sign, Depot or Bosa? They both do for a new deal, and you might not be able to afford both of them. Ooh, that trade, that's for you, bro. That's for you right there. Who would you sign, Debo or Bosa? They both do for a new deal, and you might not can afford both of them.
Defense wins ball games.
There it
Offense
is.
sells tickets. At this point, Debo is a commodity in which we have been able to utilize, but chances are there are a couple other offensive threats out there in which we can create. Unlike Bosa is a little bit hard to find. I'm signing Bosa. So yes, there you have it. It's going to be continue to be interesting at the end of the day. Um, It is unfortunate. Like I'm a 49ers fan, so of course I like to have Debo in the fray. As Anthony was talking about, of course I would like to have Bosa, but of course I recognize it's a business. I would wish, and in the sense I say, I would wish that they recognize it as a business as well. I'm very sure they do recognize it as a business, and they're recognizing themselves as a brand, as a business as well, and they need to best do what's best to benefit themselves as a business and a brand. So I completely get it. I understand it, but of course, all this comes to say, like we said, it's I just continue to say the same thing: contract, contract, contract. Um, and you should it should do what you in those 4 to 5 years in which your contract is initially done. You're supposed to do what you're supposed to do your best to make yourself viable, so that way when your contract year comes up, it's clear and without question, like, hey, we got to pay this guy. We want to keep him in our franchise. We want to pay him what we think he's worth. We want to pay him what everyone else is seeing. And you try that. And I'm trying to figure out at what point do we go to where these contracts are going to make a difference anymore and people start pushing the line. I'm very sure an organization forced to did it, saying as a homage to a player, and it's starting now. It seems like it's supposed to be the norm to where you don't play a contract out. You get this extensions of where that money's put into that, and sometimes that does make a difference. Like they take that money, they roll the additional money that they have left over into that other contract, which brings down the cap, which brings down your yearly average, and the cap space opens up more cap space. It's not that they're not all with him, Applewhite. I think it's more of a sense of that they have to, like, again, he just became hot over the last 2 years. He just became hot. He's been injury prone, uh, and so now for me, as like I said, as a GM, uh, I would look at you know what I did a couple of things. I went to school in reference to becoming athlete management or agent, quote unquote. So I learned a couple of things. I have a certification for it, and I sit back and I think to myself, like the same rhetoric in which I say here, would it be the same thing in which I would be telling my client? Because you get paid, I get paid, and with that mindset and thought, I would advise my clients properly. But of course, at the end of the day, you do what you're supposed to do for your client. If my client says he wants me to go get him a contract, then I'm going to do what the best I can to get him that contract. But I'm going to also advise him of certain things and where we sit, because if I can go speak, of course, it's a back and forth. I'm the liaison between the client and the organization, and I want to figure out, okay, what is it? What can we do? What's best suited? Everything that that the team want might not be best for my client. What my client want might not be best for the team. What's the middle ground in this case? And I think that's where we need to find out, like, what's the middle ground in these cases. If you get if you give me a couple of games, and we'll go. And true that y'all can understand that, Applewhite, and the GMs are not loyal. I'm asking the point, but what happened is, so okay, let's talk about this, Applewhite. True enough. So when you say the GMs are not loyal, in what aspect are you saying the GM is not loyal? Are you saying the GM is not loyal to the player as far as the player staying in the organization? Because even if I pay if I ask for a contract, right, and I want a contract extension, let's say yes, I get the contract extended, and I get 100 million, 5 years, 100 million, roughly 25 million a year. I get that, right? I got what I wanted. I got paid, right? So are you saying, but if I end up in year two being traded, are you saying that the GM wasn't loyal to me at that point? Like, I got paid. I got what I needed out the deal. I got paid. My contract, because the contract is basically, you gotta look at it. In my opinion, the contract is your resume, in which you're sitting and playing out and saying, like, okay, you're going to be here for this amount of time frame, and this is what you're going to make based upon the your what you do and what you've shown us to be your skills. Now, when you sign that contract, that makes you my option to keep or send about their ways. And at the end of the day, when I send you on your way, not being loyal after the rookie contracts to the players, that could be subjective because after you after your rookie contract, if you've been good, like you're a rookie, like you get paid a pretty good. Some of them get paid pretty good money as a rookie. You outperform your contract, then you probably get paid. You know, what I'm saying we look to pay you better, or you get really you're allowed to become a free agent, and someone else can look to pay you better. I don't see how that's not loyal. I'm just saying it's just you playing out your contract, and you don't have to play out your contract. You can sit, but there's rules against that. You're asking for more money, you sit out and you lose money, but you're asking for more money. Like it's just, you know what I'm saying? If you and then you basically what you're doing is over, in my opinion, you're overstating or you're overplaying your hand to the value of you to that team. But it's not just you. It's like 60, 50 to 60 other people in which you have to look at that I have a loyalty to. And all of them, hence the reason why these contracts come to play at certain times. And why you come like, okay, now just like Anthony was saying, now San Francisco has to pay Debo and and Bosa and a couple of other players. But those are the most viable ones in which they have to play. So like I said, it all becomes subjective. It is interesting, but and we as we continue, we'll sit out and look. As we all know, it's going to change, and I think a lot of this is going to potentially get solved within the next 3 to 4 months, potentially because we got the draft at the end of this month. Once the draft goes through, there's going to probably be some movers and shakers. It might be some people might be sent certain places that brings up other assets or see who saying who's where, who's getting drafted. And it's like okay, this is what we're going to do.
DK, Debo, Terry, and AJ, who gets signed first and who gets the boot? I don't know. I can't answer that, Anthony. In my opinion, I can't answer who's going to get signed first.
If
I
I had to
really
ask
don't know.
for the sake of answering the question, I think TJ gets I mean AJ gets signed first.
Oh wow, AJ Prime.
Yeah, I think he. Oh, no, I stand corrected because I just seen somewhere he was talking about because I guess they're saying that he his work ethic, and him as a team player wasn't isn't what they want, isn't what lines up with their organization, and
Out there in
so he's like,
Tennessee.
yeah, in Tennessee. So all the grumblings, man. So maybe I redirect. Maybe
Well, so
D.
I did hear this morning though, Trey, because you said you didn't turn your TV on this morning or whatever. But I did hear that they are in talks. Tennessee, the Titans are in talks with working out his contract on with agent.
Okay,
I did hear that
yeah.
this morning. So that is the case. So yeah, I would probably have to agree with Trey. What he said initially in regards to AJ being the first one to get signed. As far as who gets the boot, I don't see Debo because I told you what San Francisco said about Debo and what Debo says about San Francisco about playing for Chicago. So I think
I
DK
just
might be
think
the
the
one to
money
get booed.
of DK.
Yeah,
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's like they want to. If they value, they want to, but it's a business. You have to.
yeah,
They need to make it fit, and you're not the only one. And this is where I think that's where it happens. Where the players, and like I said, I'm speaking from the aspect of a person. Look, like if I was an agent, would this be the same talk? I don't know, but I would.
right.
But I think as a person who I am, I would want to make sure that my client understands. Like, hey, you're not the only one. We're gonna go try to get this money, but hey, that's not saying. Let's keep in mind when this person signs, when the market resets, don't be blowing my phone up talking, did you just see what so and so got? It's my job. Yes, I did see it. Give me a chance. Hold your horses, bruh. Like we working this, you know what I'm saying? I'll come back and I'll let you
Right.
know. We'll see.
Well, but you got to but also Trey, put yourself in the player's position, right? In regards to when you see players in which you came into the league with, or things of that nature, you see them getting the bag, man. And you personally, Trey, you personally know your numbers are just as good or better, or not too far off of what that person has did in the prior seasons or the prior season, and you still waiting on the bag, but they got theirs. You as a
So,
player, mind you, you're a young player, so your mindset is like you hurry up and wait. Why do I have to hurry up and wait? He didn't hurry up and wait. You know what I'm saying? We
and
both
that's
came
what
in
I'm
the league at
saying.
the same time. You know what I'm
And you
saying?
know
We
what
both
make
came
it
in the same
worse?
league.
And you know
Go
what
ahead.
makes it worse? And I'm putting myself in the position of an agent because
Okay.
at one point I was looking. I aspired. I went to school for it. I got the certificate. I didn't get the bag,
Mm-hmm.
but I got the certificate and all that type of stuff. And so,
Mm-hmm.
what it would make it worse is if I'm an agent for you and an agent for Steve,
Mm-hmm.
maybe the same positions, and I
Mm-hmm.
got Steve the bag, and now I got to
But
sit
do
and
you?
explain to you why
Why you? I
why
even
why
give me
you
the
ain't got the
bag?
bag yet? And I
Right.
gotta simply let you know, like Steve plays for so and so. This is their situation over there.
Right.
You play for this team over here. I
Mm-hmm.
got a different situation y'all get with, so I can't. It's not a cookie cutter situation. Like you gotta, and I think that's and to go back to what you was just talking about. Also, additionally, is what we gotta keep in mind is some of these bags that are guiding, that are pushing the change, the reset the market, are people who have been in the league for a second and they have showed improved over the
They
course of
deserve it.
6 to 8 years that
They deserve
they
that
do
bag.
this. And this is why
Right.
these is who getting paid. But because you are up for your contract and you're my top and you're this organization's person, you're this organization's Devontae Adams, doesn't necessarily translate to you getting the Devontae Adams type money. But we would try to do our best. But and that's what I'm just saying. Like I don't want why like they said, Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson. In my
Mm-hmm.
opinion, one of those two are should be getting 40 million based on what they have done over the course of over the course of their contract. Yes, they should be getting, I ain't gonna say Aaron Rodgers money, but they should be getting some money.
Should
Now
they
when you
get?
look at it,
Should they be getting car
one of
money?
them one of them one
Should get car money?
one of them should be getting car money. One of
Okay.
them is actually he came in at the same time or just a year before or after two that just got their money. So he's just saying, so he's due. In which the organization is trying to give him his money, but sensibly, in my opinion, he sensibly is wait. I don't know if he's doing it by design, but if he had signed a while ago, he'll be out of luck because the market has reset like at least 2 or 3 times since he hasn't signed. And then
So
so it's
AT,
like when he gets his
go
money,
ahead.
he's going to reset the market too. Go ahead.
So after Rich, I'm gonna be honest with you. You said the league is putting these rookie contracts on these for these players for 4 years and they being dishonest and disloyal after the contract. When it's all said and done, Trey has said it numerous times. It's a business. You can't be loyal to a player when you have over so many players on the team. You can't be loyal to every single player on the team. That's not possible. It's not possible
Get
because if you
get
do,
on
you're
your
not gonna have a
knees,
team.
get on your
You're not gonna
knees,
have a
put
team.
your hands together, and pray,
And
raise your
pray.
hands to the sky when you're not one of them 53 players that's job is in jeopardy. Like
That
we gotta
part.
simple like what are we simply talking about right at this point? Like we're
Like
talking about not getting the
can't
bag when you got about 6 or 7 that don't even have a job now. And
that
you talk
part.
and you yeah, and so that type of sometimes your bag is the reason why they don't have a job because they can't afford to
That
keep.
part.
So it's like
That part.
it's like that. It's a dog eat dog situation.
It is.
An organization that has to make the best decision for the
Are
organization,
they
and
asking them to
sometimes
be loyal though, Applewhite? Are they really coming in? Or is that their punchline, or is that their selling point when they go talk to these players? These players
yeah,
coming
we're
out
gonna
of
always
college.
be loyal to
Is that
you.
the real that loyalty is not coming out their mouth? I'm not there, but I can almost bet that that's not their selling point. That's not their selling point. Yes, they're gonna say some things that's gonna make you want to come to their squad. They're gonna say the things that you want to hear. Just like put it the perfect first. This is force formation, and we're all military personnel.
Hmm.
Did your recruiter tell you anything that was? Did your recruiter tell all truth to you when you first joined the military? No, he did not. No, he did not. He told you what you wanted to hear. He told you about the money. He told you about where you could travel to. He told you about all the good things that was going to get you to sign that contract and saying that you wanted to join the military. But when
if
you
it,
got in and you seen what it was, you said first thing you thought about you want to cuss that
and to
recruiter
go
out
and
and you
to
want to
well, you
find
know
it.
what, and to go even further than that, Bishop, that's a good point you bring up. You signed the same contract. Your first enlistment or rookie contract is what 3 to 4 years. You might get a signing bonus, in which is going to be
Mm-hmm.
spread out over the course of your years, where you get every
Mm-hmm.
your on your anniversary, you make X amount of dollars. You're going
Mm-hmm.
to get that. You stay in the same place for 3 or 4 years. You don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily, if you re-enlist or you sign your extension, you for additional years. What happens? You even you get traded by the installation to another installation, or you
Mm-hmm.
continue to sit at the same installation and continue, and you get to a point to where you enjoy where you're doing. At some point,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't want to be there anymore, what do? You call Branch, aka
That
your
part.
agent. You call
That
Branch
part.
and sit up and
Preach.
you call
Preach.
Branch and sit up and talk to
Preach.
Branch and sit up and speak to them like, hey, where can you get me? Where can I go? Branch goes and looks
Preach.
and be like, I don't have anything. This is where we can get. If you want to go here, let me know. Branch sends out an allocation to see if they can get you there. If they can get you there, then you might get your team of choice. You may not get it, and what happens? You get traded to what's good, Pastor Jeff. You at that point you get
What's
traded.
going on? What's going on?
You go from being at Fort Hood and get traded to Fort Drum. You didn't want to
Mm-hmm.
go to Fort Drum. You wanted to
Right?
go. You wanted to go play for Fort Lewis. I mean, correction.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted to go play for Fort Jackson. Fort
Mm-hmm.
Jackson doesn't have room for you on their squad, so you had to go
Mm-hmm.
to the next place. And sometimes you might sit
Preach.
up and get. You might not be able to get anywhere in the states. You might be like, and that you might have to sit up and chill for a second and go play overseas somewhere. It's the
That part.
same. It's the same
Preach.
thing in which it comes down
Preach.
to it. So
It's a business.
it's a
It's no
business.
different.
Yes,
It's no different.
there's a plan. There's certain things that the organizations have in play. If you're a creme de la creme, I can assure you, you're gonna probably get some of the best assignments in which you want. Hey, you want
Not.
to go? And some people I know ain't been back on the line since they left. They done sit up and been OCs. They done been OCs overseas. They done came back.
Mm-hmm.
They done went and they done became been over units, working in brigades, EO sharps, all that. They get some of the best assignments. When they come back to regular doing regular army stuff, they still getting good assignments. Why? Because they're the creme de la creme. They're the Aaron Rodgers. They're the Aaron Donalds. They're the LeBron Jameses. They dictate their market for the
Patrick
most part.
Mahomes, all of that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they dictate their market for the most part. And so that's what it becomes out to be. And that's what the things is. So I sit up and say, like, yeah, Debo, you're a high speed soldier, low drag, you know what I'm saying? We see the promise in you. But we got other high speeds that have been around much longer than you have, and that has continued. Like you got a couple of profiles on your record. You got you we just have to look. We'll get back to you, and that's what I think is basically what's happening
I totally
at the
agree,
end of the
man.
day.
We
So
couldn't we couldn't explain it no better than that. AP Richard Applewhite. That's just basically what it is. It's the business, man. They're gonna do what they gotta do to get you to get you to come there. Once they get you there, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? They looking at the next man for the next season, so forth. Like the business model
think
is a
about how
lot
many
of
times
players. It's a
I went
lot of
to
players upon interest in hold that pay down for 4 years. After that, trade the player so you will not have to pay him the big bucks. He gave you his best 4 years, and now he's throwing away, and the team goes on to the next one. Isn't that the exact same thing they say about Uncle Sam?
I went
I've had so
I
many
went to
people tell me,
I went to
get what
JBL
you can out the army, get what
I
you
went to
can out of Uncle
JBL
Sam, because he's gonna get whatever he needs out of you.
I went to
I've heard that
JBL
my
because
whole career.
you know what? My uncle told me that. He's like, Travion, you ain't is well, he ain't called that. He called me whatever what my family called me, what they called me. So he was like, you ain't retired yet? I was like, nah, Uncle, I ain't retired yet. I still do. He's like, you better go ahead because he's like, you better get it while you can because they gonna replace
Yeah,
you with no problem
that part.
because he
They
had
tell you
served.
that.
You know
They
what I'm
told me
saying?
that early. They told me that early. You are very replaceable. You are very replaceable, bro. There's so many people that's coming after you who will take take what you don't want, what you're not willing to take somebody else behind you with. And know that just there's young men that's in college just hoping and praying to live their dream to be in the NFL. Now, mind you, once you get in there and you've proven yourself, yeah, now you've gotten, now you okay. Now I want, now I want the bag. Now I really, really want the bag. well, okay, you've done what you've done. Hopefully, you can get the bag, but it's not guaranteed. At least not where you currently are. Some get
Mm-hmm.
it where they are, some don't. Even Patrick Mahomes said this morning when they interviewed him about the cheetah.
Tyreek Hill. Oh
He,
yeah, he was
yeah,
like
he
he
was
was
like, I'm
surprised.
surprised.
I
He was
knew, but I was
surprised. He didn't
surprised.
expect
Yeah.
it. Yeah, he said he didn't expect that. He didn't expect that. He said he knew it could happen, but he didn't expect that. He said, now I got to focus on other things. I got to focus on the other receivers of which we got. Juju and them. I got to focus. It is what it is.
Like Biggie say, the game just rewind.
That's it. That's it, man. It's all a dream. It's all a dream, and you try and hope. You hope and wish and pray that that dream continues to be able to play as long as the GOAT. But it's not all. It's not always gonna happen that way. It's not.
So it's definitely. So on to a couple of lighter things, Bishop. Do you know potentially in a couple of weeks, let's say about 3 weeks, we will know where our favorite teams are playing at? The
What do you
NFL is
mean?
scheduled. The NFL is scheduled to release the schedule this 2022-23 season around May 10th, between May 10th and 12th for the most part, to where we'll be able to know
Okay.
who's playing when they playing, where they playing. Basically, get a chance to plan out if you're going to go see
Where you want to
Philly,
go? Right.
when you go see Philly playing Dallas, or you know what I'm saying, or when you're saying how that's basically when or what's going on, who's playing on Thanksgiving, who's
Oh,
Dallas,
nice.
who's Washington, and who you know what I'm saying the usual suspects are going to be playing against. Who's going to be playing on Christmas because this year Christmas falls on a Sunday, so it'll be NFL on the Christmas day.
Oh,
So all that type of
nice.
stuff. So do sometime around the 10th or 12th, we'll be looking at that. So of course, when it drops, we'll be able to go into who we see. What we see is going to be the 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 wins, plus or minus wins for the NFL teams. So of course waiting on that. Additionally, so have you ever watched any of the matches? The match, basically, Bishop, brought to you by
What is that?
Capital One. When the players team up and play golf.
Oh no, I never even heard of it.
Okay, so this is like their third or fourth iteration. The latest iteration, which comes up June 1st, will be Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, as you would say, the boat and the goat, will face
Mhm.
off against Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen for
Mm.
this event, June 1st. TB12 and A Rod versus Mahomes and Allen in the match on June 1st, as they go forth and put forth their show their skills in golfing. To before you, there's been a couple times where it's been Peyton Manning has played
Yeah.
against Aaron Rodgers or Brady, so it's consistent. They
Mhm.
kind of do it a lot. It's been about 3 or 4 years in which they've been doing it. They made it
Okay.
into a whole event.
Okay.
Uh,
No, I never. I knew about them playing, but I never knew that they had a thing called a match or anything like
yeah,
that.
the match presented
Hmm.
by Capital One. So yeah, so interesting. So I sometimes I look at it.
That
You can
is.
always catch it on Bleacher Report to sit up and talk about it. Determines that yeah, Romo was in one. Of
Yeah.
course, Applewhite gonna let us know Romo, but Romo actually can play golf. So he's not that bad. So
Yeah.
saying
No, he's
I can
good.
understand that.
But so does Patrick though.
I wonder
Patrick
when they're
plays
gonna
golf
bring
on the
someone
regular
like
too.
Steph Curry.
Pat plays
Yeah,
regularly
yeah,
too. Patrick Mahomes plays regularly. So does Aaron. So does I didn't know Tom played
yeah.
that regularly, but I knew Aaron played. I knew Patrick Mahomes played. So yeah,
I think Aaron
yeah,
Rodgers and Patrick
that.
Mahomes were last year as well. Peyton Manning was he
Right, because
plays.
they was all on
So
Sports Center talking about it. Yeah, they was
hmm
all on Sports Center talking about them playing.
hmm
And I
so
did
yeah,
know
so
Romo played, and he was good. I heard about
yeah.
Romo.
Romo thought about I think has thought about taking it professionally.
Yeah,
And then of course you got someone what's his name former NBA player Smith.
EJ.
No Smith.
Oh, you talking about uh, um, oh Smith he used to play for the Cavs.
Yeah, last play for the Lakers. He went back.
Lakers. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
he
yeah.
went back to college and he plays professional and he plays collegiately.
RJ
Uh,
Smith.
RJ Smith. Yeah,
Yeah, RJ Smith. Yeah, yeah,
he
yeah,
plays
yeah, yeah. He
collegiately.
did.
So
He played collegiate. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he played collegiate. He signed up to play collegiate golf.
yes, sir. He went
Yeah,
back and that's
yeah,
what
yeah.
he's using it. So yeah, so
Yeah.
I guess it's trending. I haven't been out there. I look when we have our because currently we're going through a golf season here on Fort Polk for intramural sports, and
Hmm.
I watch and see people do their putting and do their driving and stuff, and I in my mind I'd be taking slices
Hmm.
because I've never swung a golf club for
That is
that
a
reason,
hard sport to play, bro.
and
That
see
that
that's
duck is
and
hard, bro.
here's the reason why I probably haven't. You know what? Maybe
Oh,
you know what I'm
that
saying.
duck is hard.
Maybe that's a PRP initiative. We don't have to. We can see.
Mhm.
We don't have to see what we can do. You know what I'm saying. Go out there, have some
I like
fun,
that.
maybe do it.
I
Do it for
like that. We
charity.
should get out
You
there
know.
and do that. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. I won't have to. It's already on my list. I won't have to sit up and do some research. So,
I like
sadly,
that. I like that a lot.
uh, y'all basically just be on the lookout for that. So yes, I ask you this, Bishop.
Hmm.
If you were before a couple of things before we get ready to go into basketball because that's where it's at right now. Uh,
Hmm.
if you were a player, right, for X amount of years, and you have the ability or the chance to change your number, would you? Like, what if you couldn't get your number? What would be the number in which right now you would be looking to get? Like, what if you
So
was in the league? What would be your number?
so so I'm gonna be honest. So throughout my pretty much my whole football career, starting from elementary on up, I was number one. That was my
Hmm.
number. I
I
picked up.
am number one.
Yes, sir. I'm trying to remember how I picked number one. I forget how I actually came up with the number one. I do know the I do know that the when I was playing in elementary school, the best players on our team had single digits, and I think
Hmm.
that number was open. If I'm not mistaken, that number was the one that was open, and I chose one. And I've always chose one. Now there has been teams where I went to where I couldn't get one, and so I've had the number 10, I've had the number 13. But even then when we played, if you notice, Trey, even when we played flag football, my number was one. It
Yes,
was
it was.
always one. And that's a number in which I stuck with for years. You know what I'm saying?
So
Um,
if you
but we.
were a 5 year veteran,
Mhm.
with not to mention with and we can apply this to anything, a 5 year veteran in playing flag football down in San Antonio, which you have a name for yourself and everyone knows you play for a
Mhm.
team and that team has a following and everyone wears the number 13 uh Bishop or Davis number 13 for that team, and you have the option at the end of the year because someone who's been number wearing number one, you have the option to switch to number one. Are you switching to number one?
Absolutely,
You are.
absolutely.
It's
Yeah,
going to outweigh it. You go. Just
yeah,
forget the fans.
absolutely.
Forget the
Yeah,
fans that wear
yeah.
number 14. They y'all
Yeah,
just gonna have to do
I'm
number
going
one.
with one, bro. I'm going. Well, that's what the NFL. That's what the NFL just did when they allowed the skill players to change their numbers. Jalen
Yes,
Hurts started out at number two. He went to number one. I got a
and
Jalen
that's
Hurts number two jersey. I got to get a number one Hurt jersey now. You
and
know what I'm
currently
saying?
that's basically what's going on with Dalvin Cook as he's switching from he's been 33 since he's been in the league and he's
Right.
going back to his Florida State number of 4.
I love it. I love it. Of course, I love it. Four. I love it. You see the background. Y'all know what it is.
It's funny.
Squad.
It's
Let's
funny you
go.
say that. So I struggle, right? I truly,
Mhm.
truly, 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 truly struggle, right? Because now, presumably for eternity, I will always be known as a Roku. And for those that
Right.
are
A
not
six.
in the Greek letter organization numbers, that's the number 6. I will forever be
Mm-hmm.
known as the number 6.
Mm-hmm.
But in my days and currently now because I still I think I have 1 or 2 seasons left in me. If I was to go somewhere
Mm-hmm.
and play, I look for my namesake is Trey, number 3.
Mm-hmm.
So
Ah.
I always wear the number 3. When I can't get
Okay.
number 3, I wear Trey 33. So
Okay.
I've always wore even 3 or number 3. And it's one season which I came to the team late, although I probably was the better player on the team, but I got there late. Someone wore the number 3 and the number 33. So I just went ahead
Mm.
and I went ahead and wore number 10. I wore the number 10. So
Okay.
but so for the most part, you know what I'm saying, when I really started playing and paying attention to it, I always wore number 3 or number 33, sometimes number 32 if that was because that would so it's a struggle now because I often look at if I was, of course, in the Greek organization as well, or when you come to the number tray is already the tray is taken by the number three already. So I
Mhm.
have a internal conflict with myself where my name, saying that I've been sporting for 45 years is
Mhm.
now associated with a number in which gets a lot of love. Like I'm very sure there's a couple of trays on here now, or looking at something that's on there, but they're not trays because their name is Trey. They're trays because
Mhm.
they sport the number three and because they were shorter
Mhm.
than the other people on the line. So for
Mhm.
me, I was hoping when we were through, I was like, I wonder how do I always thought like, how do I get the see they're going right there. So he was saying, so I was thinking to myself, I was like, how do I get the number tray? I was like, I gotta get the number three. So when it came out, I was nowhere near the number three.
Well, you
I
two
was like, okay,
threes. You two threes.
I guess you could look at it like that. Or I'm
It
saying,
still
or
worked out.
and
Yeah.
I also simply looked at it as like if we was, saying if ever comes to a point, because there's some things in which you talked about, in which I thought talked about the other. I was like, if we ever did that, how if I can't wear the number, if I don't wear, I'm not going to be able to. In that aspect, I'm not going to be able to wear the number three. I'll have to wear the
Mhm.
number six. I was like, or why don't I wear Trey six? Or what I'm saying, or something like that. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of
Mhm.
things that go on my mind. Like I said, these are eternal struggles in which I have, and things
He
that
said
just go on in
eternal
my mind
struggles.
because it's like it's
Mhm.
do I the loyalty to me and the name I have was I've done for eternity or the loyalty to where I am currently, and that's and look, see, so that's easy for you to say, Anthony, because it's not you.
It's not you. Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
you.
what I'm saying. Yeah, so
I,
but
and
you're
I,
saying
I totally what I know exactly where Trey is coming from because when I joined up my first org, I wanted the number one, and I was really that's the honest God truth, Trey. I tried to get I was like, oh, I want to be the number one. I want to be number one. And then when I initially I started out as a number five, and then somebody else joined our line, and it pushed me back to the number six. But yeah, I wanted the number one too until I found out the meaning behind it. So I was like,
exactly.
I
Yeah,
get it, I get it, I
yeah,
get it, I get it.
yes.
But
So
yeah,
yeah,
I've
so
always wanted one. Anytime when I played basketball, that was my number. But I get it, I get it, I get where you're
yes,
coming
yes.
from. So you would trade. So if you could, you would say that you would turn in your old number to go to get the number three. Because now I'm gonna be honest with you. Now because of what I am now and as being a quad, now if I don't get my number as a one, I'm going to number four without question. Without question.
See that makes it easy for you because at the end of
Yeah.
the day, in our organization, I can hear now, like, yeah, see, he just always wanted to be a trade. That's what that is. So what I'm saying, that's that's the sense. So I can't. It's like I can't for that simple reason. Like
yeah.
it's like it's again internal struggles,
Yeah.
mental conversations with myself. Uh,
Facts.
I probably said too much already, but
yeah.
oh goodness. All right. So of course, going to move into the NBA. I thank you for your empathy, Anthony. I appreciate your
Yeah,
empathy,
no,
sir.
right?
I think.
yeah,
Um, NBA,
we had three big
NBA,
games last night. Three big
three big
games.
games, in which two of them were exactly what we thought. One
Mm-hmm.
without two of them without a clear cut and no doubt. And then the other one I knew I went against the grain. I went in my mind. I just knew that Dallas was going to get a W.
Mm.
How they was going to get the W, don't know, but I knew they was going to get the
Mm.
W. And ultimately,
Mm.
they got the W. Uh, and from the point in which in grand fashion at that in grand fashion as of course last night the Dallas Mavericks took on the Utah Jazz, winning 110 to 104 to tie the series 1-1. The Jazz leading scorer 34 points from Donovan Mitchell, 2 rebounds, 5 assists, 21 points from Jordan Clarkson, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 25 points from Bojan Bogdanovic, 25 with 5 assists, no 5 rebounds, no assists in 40 minutes of play. Mike Conley, the Clamps, 22 minutes, no points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists.
Oof.
It Daniel House, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 points. Uh, it wasn't enough in any way, form, or fashion, as Spencer Dinwiddie's finished with 17 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, but it was nothing compared to Jalen Bronson's 41 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists on 6 of 10 shooting from the 3 point arc, and to even go a little further in depth, Maxi Kleber, 25 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, in which he went 8 for 11 shooting, but all his points were 3 pointers opposed to one free throw. As
Mhm.
they that was basically that powered them uh past the Jazz last night. As you know, of course, Dallas is without Luka Doncic, as he now gets an opportunity as they travel, or they probably are already in or have just left to go to Utah, as they move the series from Utah to from Dallas to Utah, as they look to maybe take the lead and grab back their home court advantage. Did you check this game out, Bishop?
No, I did not. I did see the highlights, excuse me. However, and Bronson just this dude, even Kevin, I mean, even Jason Kidd was like, man, this dude here, man, he needs to get that bag. If
Yeah,
Jason Kidd
he's in the
said in
season.
post,
He's
yeah,
a season a contract year. He's in the contract year.
right. Post conference, Jason Kidd was like, I don't know if he got an agent, but if not, I'll be his agent, because he said Bronson's that dude. He feels like this dude had 41 points with zero turnovers.
Yes, that part.
As he carried the Mavericks to a win over the Jazz in Dallas, with Luka on the bench, loving every minute of it. So this goes back to what we talked about previously. I believe Trey even stated that everybody talk about that Dallas, it just has Dallas only has Luka. Well, I think Bronson has begs to differ, um, dropping in 41 points on the Jazz last night. It was so disturbing, and not so disturbing. Um, it was such a problem that the Joker got teed up twice and got ejected.
Hmm.
He got teed up twice and got ejected from that game. Um, Oh, I'm talking about the wrong game. I'm sorry. That's a
Yeah.
totally different game. I'm talking about somebody else. I'm talking about somebody else. I'm talking about the Joker. But Donovan Mitchell tried to do his thing. He did. He tried to do his thing in
32
that game.
points.
32 points, and he just couldn't do enough, man. They just couldn't do enough. Bronson was doing it in all aspects. Not only was he dropping 41 points, but he's dropping dimes in regards to passes and assists. He found, open players as he drove to the basket, find people in the corner, find people up around the top of the key, and they was just dropping dimes in the bucket, bro. And they took that W over Utah. And I was surprised because I did pick Utah to win that game. So I ended up going 2-1 last night. But it is what it is. Because I didn't really think I didn't think the Mavs would get that dub over the Jazz at home without Luka.
Yeah, I'm here right here with you, and I knew better. But of course, what I'm saying, choices we make. Additionally, of course, last night the Philadelphia 76ers played host for this game two in their series with the Toronto Raptors. Of course, the Toronto Raptors were without their top one of their top players in rookie Scotty Barnes. And for the most part, it showed to the degree, taking a 15-point loss as Philadelphia walked away to take the 2-0 lead, 112-97 as they go to Toronto. Leading scorers for Toronto, 20 points apiece from Fred Van Fleet, as well as Pascal Siakam. Van Fleet with 4 rebounds, 7 assists. Siakam with 10 rebounds and 5 assists. 26 points from OG Angbongo. Nobi, 17 points for Chris Bashir. Malachi Flynn, 0 points, 0 rebounds in 21 minutes, 1 assist. Thaddeus Young, 2 points, 2 rebounds, no assists in 8 minutes of play. Precious Achuan, 7.6 rebounds, no assists. It basically just looks at there was no help for the most part from other aspects of the Toronto Raptors team. Hopefully they do better in Toronto. The 76ers, however, led by Joel Embiid's 31 points, 11 rebounds. Tyrese Maxey, another 23 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, just one assist, 1 rebound, 2 assists short of a triple double. Tobias Harris, 20 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist. James Harden, 14 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. For the most part, is one of the situations where it looks like there wasn't the team really didn't do too much, need to do too much damage due to the fact of the Raptors were kind of like uh, doing damage themselves by not having efficient scores. 2-0 now. They go back to Toronto. Bishop, do you think is this series basically over now? Is it, as
Oh yeah.
Ron would say, a sweep is on the horizon?
Oh yeah. I agree with Ron yesterday that that's probably one of the first games that's gonna be over early. Um, if Raptors if the Raptors get a win, it'll probably be because they may choose to rest Embiid or something of that nature. But other than that, this series is pretty much over. To the 76ers are going to take these ones out, especially if they win this next game in Toronto. Yeah, this game is definitely over. The question at hand is Harden going to show up? Because Harden, I think he dropped what 13 last night. Was how many he ended
14,
up with? 13,
four-
14.
14.
Yeah, 14 points. So yeah, a lot of people were questioning Harden's play. Um, a lot of people wonder where's Harden at. The real Harden is he gonna show up? Please stand up. Please stand up. But yeah, um, I don't know. I don't know. And then the other question was this question right here is, how do you feel about Embiid telling Coach Nurse to start complaining about the officiating? So last night, Embiid was talking to Coach Nurse on
Hmm.
the sidelines. In regards to look, he was just basically letting him know, man, hey, why are you complaining? Like, stop complaining about the officiating. There's nothing really you can do about that. You have to, slow or try something with the down. Hard slow or tired. Something down. Oh, okay. Got you, Anthony. Um, what are your well, basketball is money markets now over here, just like Dallas won last night. They might get one. I'll give them one, maybe. But that's enough. What do you call it? A gentleman
Gentleman
sweep.
sweep. Hmm.
Yeah. So what do you think, Trey, about AB telling Coach Nurse to stop complaining about the officiating?
I think he in any case we Joel we know tends to get under people's skin, so I think
Mm-hmm.
him is saying doing that is just a natural reaction. They're like stop complaining, kind of like get him trying to poke at him or whatever case. Um, in which he was getting fouled and he was going to the line. And basically it's just like at the end of the day, whether there is or isn't any um officials making bad calls or making lopsided calls, at the end of the day, the officials are going to do their calls, and they're going to be like we always say, the official has a final call,
Mm-hmm.
and they will be. It will be. They will. Uh, and that's what it is. You know, so the officials make sure the game go along. And it's just one of the things. So the final call is the officials, right or wrong. It's their call. I just hope it wasn't too egregious because at the end of the day, that could dictate if they got to go back to Philly and
Mm-hmm.
they got to see some officials again. That could be
Mm-hmm.
you probably won't get that at home, but
Mm-hmm.
you have to go to Philly. If you get one game, you have to go back to Philly. So kind of like sit and bear it in a sense. If it's not too egregious, then you make a decision or say something. But if it's to complain about all the calls is just a bad look in my opinion.
Right. Agreed. What is this? What I'm learning, players have more control than the coach. Like me talking down to his coach, LeBron talking down on his coach. So do you really feel like it's them talking down, or do you feel like they're just trying to ensure that the coaches aren't the ones to change the momentum by doing something foolish and talking to an official and end up getting a technical? Because we all know a technical can definitely change the momentum, switch the flow of a game. So if I'm LeBron or if I'm Embiid and I see my coaches is possibly working his way to a tech. Yeah, I'm gonna do all I can to try and calm him down to try and avoid that technical because we don't want the momentum to change, especially like Philly. They playing in Philly. Why would we want the momentum to change to go in favor of the Raptors? That's not what we want. So I don't think it's necessarily talking down to Anthony. I just feel like they're trying to ensure that the coaches don't be their reason for losing a game because of momentum change.
And it's funny that you say that, Bishop, when you talk about the technical, uh, because in a game last night, presumably a technical did alter
Facts.
potential what the course was. Of course, as last night the 76ers, correction, the Golden State Warriors played against the the Denver Nuggets in Golden State and were end up becoming victorious with a 126-106 win, uh, basically taking a 2-0 lead. The Nuggets were led by, of course, Jokic 26 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists. 12 points apiece from Will Barton and Monte Morris. Will Barton with 10 assists, 10 rebounds, 2 assists. Monte Morris, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. 10 points from Byron Forbes, 12 points from Bones and Highland, uh, 8 points from Cousins. But actually, in all honesty, uh, Jokic ejected last night in the last running minutes. It had made a difference. He might could slow some of the bleeding, but they was already busted at that time. He got ejected a double T for in which a situation
Or
where
no call.
a no call, yes, it was a foul. It definitely was a foul. There was not,
Yeah.
and it could have been that could have been a whole bunch of emotions boiling over when he might have felt like I'm the only person because you look at it, his assist was down, which probably mean that his players wasn't making shots. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, he only had 4 assists.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention that Draymond was doing good. Was doing a good job on him to some extent,
Right.
flustering him, causing him. You know, what I'm saying knocking balls away and handsy and all that type of stuff. It really caused an issue for him. Of course, the Warriors led by Steph Curry off the bench, 34 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. Klay Thompson, 21 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Jordan Poole, 29 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, 10 points from Bajeka. Um, for the most part, that was their rotation. Gary Payton, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 13 points, 8 assists, 2 rebounds
Hmm.
from Andrew Wiggins, Draymond, 6 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. And like I said, Draymond, he didn't do much on the offensively, but he did, like Anthony was talking about. I'm not gonna say he exposed Jokic, but he did did a pretty good job. He caused fits. He did what he needed to do. He ain't stop him from scoring, but he did stop him from what I feel like is uh other basically helping his teams in other ways. And then, of course, he did cause Jokic to get ejected as he was double teed and sent to the locker room early. Uh,
So this is my thing, right? So with
yes,
Curry coming off the bench and dropping 34, is phenomenal. I mean, the dude only played like what 23 minutes, I think it was. I think he only
less than
played like
25
23.
minutes, 23 minutes.
Yep,
Yes,
23 minutes and dropped 34 points off the bench, man. That's scary. That's real scary, bro. Even though we know
well, yeah,
he's not gonna stay
mental,
on the bench, he's gonna get back in the starting lineup. They just, they excuse me, they just, um, he's on a time, schedule
time
regardless of
restriction.
how much time he's playing. But when he gets back in the starting lineup, and I said this yesterday when I picked the um, the Warriors that Curry was going, he's going to show up, and he's going to show up and show out, and he did that. And
He did.
coming off the bench. So which team looks like a powerhouse Suns or Warriors? Anthony, that's a good question. Right now, I'm gonna have to wait and see how the Suns do tonight
Tonight.
or
Yeah,
today. Today, yeah, tonight. My bad, tonight. Yeah, tonight. When they play the Pelicans again. But again, I feel like the Warriors are playing a more competitive team. Well, no, maybe not, because CJ's in New Orleans, so I won't say that. So right now, Anthony, if I would have to pick because of the question, I would have to go with the Suns. still, but it's
Mm-mm.
a slight edge to the Suns. Slight, very slight. I'm going with the Suns. But I don't know. Well, how do you feel, Trey? Who are your
I would
rivals?
go opposite of that. I think the Warriors are definitely showing they're young and they're not even using a deep bench at this point. Kaminga,
Right.
Wiseman, all of them are still sitting in wait. I would say that right now, I think it would be the Warriors as you sit up and go further and further, and it's basically coupled with the fact that the Warriors are more experienced. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
at this point, like Jordan Poole is emerging.
Balling.
You
Boy,
know what I'm
he
saying?
balling. Dude
Spat,
is balling out
not
of
even
control.
like he's basically added. No longer are they the Splash Brother. Now they're the Splash Triplets. Like like these
Bro,
dudes
he
is
is
knocking down
balling.
short shots from all over. You still have Wiggins. You still have
You have
other
what you have in
as
pool is what you was missing with Iguodala.
yes,
Iguodala
and you
was a
still
good
and not to
shooter.
mention
Yeah,
not to
yeah.
mention you still got Iguodala on the bench too. So it's like
That part. That
so
part.
they have some depth, and I think
Right.
right now the scarier team, in my opinion, is the
Warriors.
Nuggets. Yeah, I'll be correction, the Warriors.
Yeah, blowing them out by 20.
Yeah,
I
definitely the
mean, it
Warriors.
is. Yeah, I feel I can't go against what Trey's saying because, like I said, it's very. I'm picking the Suns, but slightly. Um, but yeah, the Warriors are scary, bro. The Warriors are
Yeah,
scary, and I think it was Kim that stated that. I think she picked the Warriors to win it. Or
yeah,
no, she's a 76ers fan. She's a 76ers fan, so no, I
yeah,
don't think
Key.
she
Yeah,
picked the Warriors. But somebody picked the Warriors. So somebody picked the Warriors to win the whole thing. I
I
forget who it
was
was.
wasn't it? It was Cornelius.
Cornelius. It was somebody.
Yeah,
Poole
CC.
is
Yeah,
22 years old.
yeah.
Yes, he's 22 years old, bro, and balling like he's been in the league for years. The boy is yes 22, and he's balling out of control, bro. That dude, Poole is that dude right now. Them boys, um, him and what's his name, Brunson. These boys they're coming into their own, man. They're coming into their own, and they're starting to show that man. His other players out here besides the Jaws, the Zions, stuff like that, bro. They showing, hey, we can come out here and ball too.
Of course, tonight we have a 3 game slate, and that 3 game slate, game
What did
twos,
you end up, Trey? What would you last night?
1 and 2.
1 and 2. Okay, okay.
Yeah, because I
So that's
picked the
puts me at what?
yeah,
Seven and
uh,
7 and 2. I'm 7 and 2.
uh, and me 4 and 5. So
Yes, sir. 3 games tonight.
uh, 3 games tonight. Yes. Well, you have Phoenix. Correction. The Hawks look to try to even up the series against the Miami Heat as they play at 6:30. The Timberwolves took away home court advantage. Let's see if they can continue to apply that pressure. They face off with the Grizzlies at 7:30 in Minnesota and in Memphis, and lastly, of course, the Pelicans look to try to even their series with the Suns in Phoenix up at 9 o'clock tonight. So Hawks and Heat, Bishop, who you rocking with? Who you think gets the dub tonight?
Man, so that thrashing with the Hawks the other night, I feel like Trey ain't finna let that go lightly, man. So you know I gotta go with Ice Trey, man. I think Trey gonna come out and hit on all cylinders tonight versus the Heat. Even though they playing in Miami, hopefully the Hawks didn't after that thrashing the other night. I hope the Hawks didn't go out and do no stupidness over the past couple of days and rest up so they can try and bounce back because they need this win in Miami tonight. So I'm taking the Hawks.
I
What
still
do you say?
think that the Heat, Bishop is Patty for that. Oh, seven. Oh, petty. Petty for that. I'm 7 2
Oh,
smiling while smiling inside.
yeah, I
It's
am.
okay.
I'm just saying that's the
What
truth, bro.
goes up must come down. Uh,
Suns, Grizzly, and Heat. Suns, Grizzly, and Heat. Okay, I got you, Applewhite. We got you. We got you,
I think
AP.
that
All right, Rich
I'm
AP. We
rocking with
got
the
you.
I'm rocking with the Heat tonight. I think this is just like Applewhite was saying. I think the Heat continue to go on a tangent. I don't know if in Miami, I don't think Atlanta get the W. I know we seen a dismal game from Trey, in which he's
Mm-hmm.
probably going to come back with the vengeance, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. I think those at that is better reserved for Atlanta in the ATL, where they might be able to steal 1 or 2. But I was like, as far as them being in Miami, I think Miami gets the dub tonight.
Okay,
So I'm going with Miami.
that's fair.
Uh, Memphis and Grizzlies.
So
Does
we know Big Cat and them handle business on the road versus the Grizzlies. Um,
hmm
and and John them just I'm sure there was a bit shocked to take that L to the Timberwolves or to the Minnesota Timberwolves on the other night on Saturday night. So
hmm
with that man or Sunday night, whatever night that was, I'm going with Memphis. I'm feel like Memphis is going to go and settle the score and go even up the series 1-1. So I'm going with John now. I'm taking Memphis.
Okay, okay. I could go with you. I believe that's going to be the same rhetoric. I think Memphis
Ooh,
get their
and
minds right.
Timberwolves.
I think the
He
Memphis to
goes
get their
he
mind.
Suns and Timberwolves. Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
see, I think Memphis gets their mind right and make a game of this one.
Bounce back.
Yeah, and bounce back. So I agree. Memphis. I believe Memphis. Of course, in the last game, the Pelicans versus the Suns. Uh, you know what? I'll lead off of this. I have a feeling, Bishop.
Uh-oh,
I
uh-oh,
have a
uh-oh.
feeling.
We know how his feelings turn out.
I have a feeling.
What's this feeling? What's this
I have
feelings?
a feeling. It's just something that's telling me for this game two, the Pelicans are going to show that they're here
Oh,
and they don't plan to be going anywhere. So I'm
woo.
rocking. I'm going with the Pelicans. I take the Pelicans in
See,
this one.
Trey ain't fooling nobody. See, Trey can play catch up, and so you got to pick a couple of games against me. That's why he chose this game first. He choose to pick this game first. But I'm definitely not going against Booker and going against CP3. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not going. Especially at home, 60 wins, bro. They got 60 wins for a reason. I am not going against CP3 in Booker and Andre Ayton. I'm not. I gotta go with them. Right now, they got the hot hand. I feel like this is the second game that's probably going to be either a gentleman sweep or a sweep completely. I'm taking the Suns to win at home against the Pelicans. I'm nothing against CJ and them, but I just don't think CJ and them got enough to take out the Suns on their own court.
It remains to be seen. Of course, we'll see. So we have that. Of course, additionally, Bishop, yesterday, if you didn't catch it, Marcus Smart became the
Oh,
first
I did
guard
catch it.
since '95 and '96 uh, to win Defensive Player of the Year, as well as the second player in Boston Celtics history to win Player of the Year. Of course, the first Gary Payton was the last time a guard won. As we know,
Right, the
Garen Payton
glove.
was known as the glove, in which he
Mm-hmm.
won Defensive Player of the Year in '95, '96, and Kevin Garnett being the last Celtic to win Defensive Player of the Year. Even that in the same breath, Bam Abios felt that he was disrespected because he didn't even make the top three
Mm.
in the voting as
Right.
and when you and then I could kind of as I looked into it, I could kind of like feeling like, of course, shout out to Marcus Smart, the offensive player of the year. But for Bam in this situation, when you look at it, all three of the top four were top four in defense. One of those top four was played on a team that was top 10 in defense. And so, but the one that was top 10 was considered one of the top three in the voting. So
Mm.
when I looked at that, I could see, saying possibly what his argument was, especially
Mm.
when you look at they have at least, excuse me, they have at least two other players that are currently in play for other awards. It just wasn't for Miami this year as Bam was left out the top four, and of course, if he's out the top four, then he's not. He wasn't eligible to receive the award in any case anyway. So, do you think he has a right?
Yeah, Bam out of bio. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But I feel like we talked about it the other day. I think that was one of the things in which you mentioned. I think it was even yesterday. He was talking about who we felt should win the D boy defensive player of the year, and we mentioned Marcus Smart. Now he was smart enough to get the defensive player of the year. He did
Mm-hmm.
what he had to do. But I do feel like Bam is deserving to be in the race because Bam has been falling out and defensively. Um, but it is what it is. Smart just I guess did just a little bit more than Bam to win the award.
And of course, as we get ready to head out, Bishop, a couple of minutes, we'll finish this in reference talking about them Nets. A couple of things. Well, I guess it depends on how you look at it. Um, do you feel, does it give you a sense of exuberance now that it's potential that Ben is going to make a debut, or do you still, are you on some, when he's on the court in full
I'm on that
uniform
when
and
he's on the
playing,
court. Yep,
you,
I'm on
that's when
that
you'll
part.
buy into it.
Yeah, that's what I'm on. I'm on that part. I don't want to hear about being. I don't want to hear about being on the court or being able
you
to
want
play.
you
I want to
want to
see
hear
it.
him being on
Yeah,
the court, not
I
about
want to
him.
see
He's
that part.
closer. Not you ain't trying to hear. He's closer.
Yeah,
He's getting closer. Okay,
yeah,
I
yes,
understand it.
that part. I'm tired of hearing about what Ben is about to do. It's been a whole year what Ben is about to do. I don't want to hear about Ben what he's about to do. I want to see Ben do it. So
Through two
hoping that he comes
organizations.
out tomorrow.
Through two organizations, you'll
Yep,
hear
through
big.
two organizations. That part. That part. I hope to see him out tomorrow versus the Celtics. If he comes out tomorrow against the Celtics, oh, Jason Tatum, ready, buddy. Get
Yeah, I was about to
ready.
say.
Get
I was
ready.
about to say. You think they
Get
need him
ready.
for against the Celtics?
Oh yeah. If we had him the other night, we'd have won that game. We'd have won that game. Because if that means Ben would have been on Tatum and Tatum wouldn't have got that later.
Mm,
He wouldn't have got that easy later, in my opinion.
okay.
So I do feel like he's a difference maker. We don't necessarily need him like I've been saying all season since we
You don't need
got
him
him.
for the sport. We don't need him to score. We
We
just need him.
we
We
don't
need
need
him.
him to score. We need him for other purposes. We don't need him to score. We need him defensively. And if he can do that, bro, we are okay. We gonna
And
come out and we
secondly,
gonna go ahead and take the series.
and secondly, what do you think about the antics of Mister Irving
What
with
antics
the,
did he do? I ain't know nothing about it. What happened?
flicking off the crowd, all the middle fingers, and all that type of stuff?
Oh, Kyrie. Oh, I thought
Yeah.
you were talking about. Oh, I thought you were talking about somebody else. Oh, Kyrie. Uh,
Yes.
so So Kyrie, man, and
As he
his
says,
antics from the other night when playing in
he,
Boston.
he's like he's giving them the energy that he gets.
That's right. And I totally get it. And you train myself and anybody that's played any type of organized sports, we know that sometimes the fans and players and stuff like that can get in your head and it can be a bit uh, antagonizing and it can be a bit frustrating when you hear. And of course, we know why, because of course Kyrie played in Boston. So a lot of people, and he left Boston on bad terms. So a lot of people do dislike Kyrie in Boston simply because of that. So he had to know that that was going to happen going into Boston. Um, his gesture, it is what it is, man. It doesn't. Is it a role model type of gesture? No, of course not. You
As he
would prefer
as he told the
you
reporters,
you
embrace the dark
yeah.
side.
Yeah, he showed you another side of himself, which you don't really see that much from Kyrie. But I'm gonna blame a lot of that on frustration, because
Hmm.
again, that was a game that was in the that they felt like was in the bag. That was a game that they could have stole, and that would have set the momentum for them highly. You know what I'm saying? They lost by one with the seconds left on the clock. Lost by one. But I feel like that's just frustration that he's acting out because of the fact that not being vaccinated, finally getting able to play home games as well as away games, things of that
Hmm.
nature. Things are not, going in the direction which he felt like they should be going in regards to, like I said, winning, losing that game. So I'm not mad at him. Kyrie should be fine. No, no, what? No, for a gesture? Why?
Yeah, he's gonna get
Why should
fined.
he be benched? Why should he be
He's gonna
suspended? Huh?
he's gonna get fined. He's definitely gonna get fined, I think. But he's probably not gonna get suspended or benched or
No,
anything.
I
But
don't
he's
think
definitely
I
gonna
don't
get
think he
fined.
deserves a fine, or I don't think he deserves a fine or a suspension. Why? What's any different than, okay? I get it. He gave the finger up, but the fans started it. That part, Anthony. Thank you much. Thank you very much. But not only that, the fans chanting his name, stuff like that. He gave a finger or whatever. I get it. It's a bad gesture. I get it. But I mean, when it's all said and done, he didn't say anything. He didn't hurt no one by doing it. He showed his emotion by giving it. I don't feel like he deserves a fine. I don't. If they give him a fine, I'm not mad. Okay, I get it. So you can prevent other players from doing it. But I don't. I personally don't feel like he deserves a fine, and he definitely don't deserve a suspension. Seriously? Come on, bro. A suspension? Stop it. I mean, really? Not no. I don't think that's deserved. Um, but he's again. I think it's because of frustration that he acted out like that. That was a game that they had in the bag, and they lost with seconds left. And mind you, that last second shot was on him. He caught that last second shot that Tatum made was on Kyrie. So Kyrie not special and should be treated like other players. Justice should be equal. He should at least get fined. And I agree. If I'm not saying he should get special treatment. I'm not saying he's special. But again, all it was a gesture. It's nothing. It's nothing. Just like it's different when it comes out your mouth compared to a hand signal. My personal opinion. You know what I'm saying? I think it's different. It's no different than a person. So do you feel like Applewhite? Do you feel like players should get fined or suspended for cussing at post conferences? Because a bunch of them are post. So a matter of
Yeah,
fact,
so what's his
Beverly,
name just
Patrick Beverly,
he just
Patrick
got
Beverly. Did Patrick
he
Beverly
just
get fined?
yeah, he did 30,000.
Right. Okay. Did he get suspended?
No, not suspended. He just got fined. That's why I said I think Kyrie's
Right.
definitely gonna get
So
a. I think Kyrie's definitely gonna get a fine. He's $30,000
right,
fine, if not more. But he's not gonna get suspended. I don't think that warrant. He's not warranted a
right. But I'm saying
suspension.
Patrick Beverly did all that. What he said, directed it to a team during the post conference. Post. And it was the words. He said that in the post conference. If you think Joe should get, if you think that Joker should get fined, absolutely. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? So like, come on, man. He did that to a ref. He would have got a technical. If he flicked the ref up, I'm sure. But it's directed directly to the ref. Yeah, when you direct it to one person, as a player, yeah, especially an official, yeah, you're gonna get a technical for that. We saw what's get a technical for barely bumping a ref, but he touched him, and you can't touch him either. But if he had done that to a ref, yeah. But we're talking again, Applewhite. The fans are booing, calling Kyrie out of his name, and all of that. Kyrie sucks, bro. After you hear that so much throughout the game, that shit weighs on you.
And that's what you say is
And at
basically
some point,
like the sucks and f you and calling you
yeah, like come
certain
on,
things.
bro,
He's
that
like
weighs on you after a while.
and that's what he said. It basically it weighs on a competitor. You know, what I'm saying, and which you ain't
Yeah,
I basically give the same energy. So it's like okay.
right. That's all he did. And again, all he did was give the judge. You saying I suck, fuck you, Kyrie, all that good stuff. All he did was give back to you. Like any more normal person, 9 times out of 10 gonna do.
Home court advantage,
I
home
get
field
it. We
advantage.
get it,
Yeah.
Apple. We get it. We get it. We get it. So, but does that mean as a player you have to accept it and you have to just deal? You have to just take it? Or, no, no, you don't. You don't have to accept that. Why? Just because they're a fan and just because we playing in your court, I'm just supposed to allow you to disrespect me? No, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. I probably would have did the exact same thing. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I would probably did the exact same thing because at some point you get tired of it. He ain't been in Boston in how long? He what 3 other teams since he left Boston? 2 other
No,
teams.
he
Come
left.
on, bro. Y'all should be over that by now.
He left Boston for
Two?
Jersey. I mean for Brooklyn, but I mean it's been some years at this point, 2 or 3
Yeah, it's been a
years.
while, bro. Yeah, it's been a while. Come on, bro. Like y'all still stuck on that? Get out the past, bro. Get out the past. Just because you paid thousands for a 4 seat, you should be in that part, Anthony. That part. That part. Totally agree. That part, Anthony. Totally agree. Totally agree. Enjoy the game, man. I ain't mad at you. You can heckle, you can say, you can do that. But when you start calling that man out of his name and disrespect him, you took it to a whole new level. You took it to a whole new level. Because we know, what's his name? Um, Spike Lee. When his next play, you don't never hear about Spike Lee about disrespecting nobody. Does he heckle? Yeah. Is he on the sideline probably talking mess into the opponent's ear? Yeah, on the floor because he always out for seats. Yeah, but he ain't. There's you don't do it. Certain things just don't. There's certain lines you just don't cross because when it's all said and done, they're a human being just like everybody else. Just because they on the floor making millions don't mean they ain't human. Let's not forget that fact.
Mm. So of course we look to see Kyrie's. It should be coming out in the next couple of days. We should hear about it. Him being fine.
He'll probably be out today.
To
Yeah,
satisfy. Drake does heckle.
he
He
does.
does
Drake
heckle.
do. Drake
Yeah.
is the other one. He does. Drake do the same thing for his rappers. He does.
Of
Like,
course,
let's
it'll
see
be
how he
coming out.
do tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow when they head
Oh,
to
that's who else.
Toronto.
That's who else said Drake. Drake also said Golden State Warriors is going to win. That's who it was possibly too. Uh,
Okay,
but yeah, so of course, what I'm saying, we'll see. It should be coming out. If not today, by tomorrow, it should come out before they
before the
play
game.
again
Yeah.
in reference to if Kyrie got fined or if he's going to get fined or not. So of course, high speeds. That's it for the day. We made it through another formation. We appreciate y'all rocking with us this morning. As we said, always catch us tune in Monday through Friday, 09 to 1100 Central Standard Time. Tomorrow, like you said, we'll have a special guest as we continue our conversation in reference to the WFA. If y'all know what that is, that's the Women's Football Association or Alliance. I think Alliance.
Yes.
Be sure to, saying, get a chance, go check them out. WFA football. And saying, kind of like get some information before, saying, before we have another person on. We look forward to see y'all tomorrow. Of course, we talk about the NBA as we have it, whatever NFL that comes out, information comes up. Of course, yeah, just be right here. That's all you gotta do. Bishop, any parting words, brother?
No, man. Again, thank y'all so much, man. We appreciate y'all. Y'all enjoy y'all Tuesday. We will definitely see y'all tomorrow. Stay tuned.
So, of course, just like anything, and just like you say, at this point, formation is done. Greatly appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all. Be sure to be here with us tomorrow. Go ahead, fall out. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Cyro 5 Military Fraternity Incorporated in the building. We'll holler back at y'all. Peace.